Darling O'Keefe Sports offensive and defensive game stars as selected by our broadcast crew. From the Hamilton Ticats, quarterback Dieter Brock is the offensive star. And from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, defensive halfback Fran McDermott is the defensive star. This is the CFL on CTV. Dean Dorsey's kickoff is not too deep. Craig Ellis takes it at the 10-yard line, number 33. Oh, nice move. And Ellis is all the way to the 40-yard line. Good return. That's one of the problems, though, guys, when you don't have a kicker that can get that ball to the end zone.
And especially with guys like we were just talking about a minute ago, like the Craig Ellis or Sammy Green, can stuff it right back right at you. They got good field position.
29 yards was the return. Joe Pow, of course, is the quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Craig Ellis has performed very well, and the always reliable veteran Greg Feger, number 2, is a fullback.
Craig Ellis has really done an excellent job in this early season, both catching and running the football for the Roughriders. 21 catches currently in this season, and he's really been their main threat on offense. Have had difficulty getting the ball to the wide receivers. You see today in the lineup, number 20, Chris DeFrance, making his first start of the season.
We've got an official down on the field of play. He was injured in a collision on the kickoff return by Craig Ellis. The game was a couple of seconds late starting. The Mounties had their horses out on the field, and one of the horses had a little bit of an accident. I wouldn't want to be having to fall down at the 48-yard line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, we can put Jocko down there. He comes from the cow town. Jocko, you got a lot of horses in the ranch. You know what to do.
That's right. You get a broom and a shovel out there in a hurry.
Pat, you know, it's funny. Every time we used to play in Calgary and that horse would come down for the national anthem, the guy that was on the kickoff cover team used to do a real deke going around where that horse had been.
Well, I hope it's not an indicator of what this game is going to be about. I'm sure it isn't. From the 40-yard line, the Saskatchewan Roughriders begin, and right away they swing it out to Ellis. I'll tell you, that Ottawa defense, the best in the Eastern Conference statistically to this point. Ricky Barden, the man that George Brancato says is absolutely his best defensive back.
Well, he's a hitter. There's no question about that. And there's a look at that great offensive line Saskatchewan's had over the last few years. Laurie Skolru, Jerry Hornet at the guards, and the veteran of that group is Roger Aldag, number 44 at left guard.
The pickup was only 3 yards, so it is 2nd and 7. The Roughriders from Ottawa jumped the gun a little bit. Now, they, of course, will say that they were drawn off by the cadence of the quarterback.
Pat, I was going to say, one of the real great matchups you're going to see today, or in any day, you're going to see Big Doolin against Poley. And I'll tell you what, Poley is just an outstanding center. He just kind of reminds me of Tedder.
Ottawa, number 69.
Well, the fellow that you were talking about, Jocko, Gary Doolin, jumped offside, and as a result, it is 2nd down and about 2 yards to go for the first down for Saskatchewan. The ball at their 48.5-yard line. The handoff is to Ellis, and he dives across the 50 for the first down of the ball game. So Saskatchewan has taken the opening kickoff and have marched it over their 50-yard line. That's a good sign for them. First time they had the football. They've been off now for a couple of weeks. And there's a look at the defensive line of the Ottawa Roughriders, who have performed so well this year. And how about the linebacking brigade? That's young Dan Rasevich in there at the middle linebacker spot.
Al Washington, he's a good one, Pat.
Pow's pass to the sideline is complete to Sammy Green, who steps out at about the Ottawa 46.5-yard line. No question about it, Sammy Green can fly.
That's the guy they want to work on. They want to work on Cornelius. They want to work on number 22 in the left corner here, and we'll see that again.
Nothing fancy about this, just a simple square out, Patterson. Charles Cornelius giving Sammy Green a lot of room.
Pickup was 13 yards. It is first down Saskatchewan. The ball at the Ottawa 46-yard line. Right over the middle, wide open was Sammy Green, and Pow put it in there. Green gets to the 34-yard line, where again Charles Cornelius made the tackle, but it's another 13-yard pickup.
The thing that's interesting, Pat, I've always found as a coach, after you've had the week off, like Saskatchewan, sometimes you come back a little flat. There's a repeat of that throw in there. Sammy Green reaches up, makes a good catch. Sometimes you come back flat after that, but Saskatchewan has not. This has given them a chance to get their feet really set, and they're looking good. Ottawa's going to have to come on in some blitzing situation. Look like here's comes number 1.
Pow fires that one over the head of Craig Ellis. I think he thought that Ellis was going to be more to the sideline, but anyway, he threw it over his head. There was no problem about an interception or anything of that nature. He did get a little heat, though. You're right.
I think he thought he was going to get sacked and decided just to dump that ball away, save the loss, and just 2nd and 10's a lot better than 2nd and 20.
Once you cross the 40-yard line going in, you can't take a sack anymore. You don't want to get yourself out of field goal range, and that's good thinking on Powell's part. Don't take the -8 and get out of field goal range. You're in for 3, going for 7.
From the 34-yard line of Ottawa, Saskatchewan in a 2nd and 10. They fake the blitz and then fire over the head of Stu Fraser, the intended receiver. Kenny Miller was providing the defensive coverage. And so instead of the 7, they'll be trying for the 3 right now. Well, it was a good drive, though, for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Good way to start a football game.
Sure was, Pat. They moved that ball effectively, and Pow not sharp on that pass, but a couple of good passes earlier to Sammy Green, and Dave Ridgway's had a little bit of trouble this year. He's only 2 for 5 in the field goal department. Has been a concern of Ruben Berry. Let's see if he can connect early.
This is from 41 yards out. It is good. And so the Saskatchewan Roughriders have taken the opening kickoff and marched it all the way down to pick up the first scoring points of the game. Saskatchewan 3, Ottawa 0. We'll be back in just a moment. Let me tell you that Ruben Berry said these guys were tired before that week layoff. He gave them 4 days to just do whatever they did. He said it was like the opening of camp again when they returned. So let's see what happens now as Saskatchewan has struck early. They lead 3-0. Ottawa finally to get their hands on the football. It bounces in front of Wayman Aldridge. He has trouble corralling it, and by the time he does, he's out of bounds at the 19-yard line.
Wayman is a heck of an athlete. He hasn't been back there, in a couple of years. I know that we didn't use him there in Calgary last year as a kickoff return guy. He just misplayed that right from the... You don't ever want to see the ball hit the ground on the 20-yard line. The guy should have been up and made the catch and moving it upfield.
All right, there's a look at how Ottawa will start this ball game. As Leaf pointed out on the opening, Chucky Davis, number 20, will replace the injured Skip Walker. And let's see if Ottawa is determined to run, or will they put it up all the time. J.C. Watts going deep for Tyrone Gray, and that's over his head.
Pat, you're taking a look at new turf out there, as you know, and it is some of the most beautiful artificial turf I've seen. It is certainly the softest. It has the greatest drainage. They poured a 10-gallon tank of water on it and disappeared in about 10 seconds flat.
Well, it is a good turf.
Fumble, Saskatchewan, number 77.
Number 71 is Jeff Roberts, who's playing that right defensive end spot for Saskatchewan. He played his first game in the CFL as a tackle, but he was out of position. They think this kid from Tulane is going to do a big job for them on that defensive front 4. So after the major foul, Ottawa has a first down at their own 35-yard line. And they give the ball to Chucky Davis. And Davis crosses the 40 to about the 42, so he'll have a good, sizable 7 yards before Rick Moore, the defensive end on the other side from Jeff Roberts, number 76, was there to make the stop.
We had Chucky Davis in Calgary last year. He's a heck of a running back. He was a highly recruited high school football player out of the state of Georgia, went to University of Wisconsin, had a good career. He looks better now than at any time that we had him in Calgary. He looks quick and he catches the ball well also.
Okay, we'll look for Chucky Davis on 2nd and 3. Will they go to him? And no, JC is going to roll out of there. Flag is down. And JC crosses midfield into Saskatchewan territory, but we do have a penalty flag on the play. He was running all the way on that play, picked up 15 yards, and it will stand because Saskatchewan was offside. He's the leading rusher on the Ottawa Football Club, J.C. Watts.
Talking with J.C. the last couple of days. I've been here for the last few days. You know that he's
offside. Saskatchewan, number 71. Decline. First down.
He's a heck of an athlete. He's 195 pounds. That's a heavyweight. You know what I mean? That's a good-sized guy.
Funny, we were talking to George Brancato. I said, "Do you want him to run that much?" He said, "Yeah. The guy can run with the football. Why not?"
Well, Pat, he puts so much pressure on the defense when he rolls out like that. He's got blockers in front of him, and it's just a great offensive formation for them.
JC in a lot of trouble, but he gets away from Jeff Roberts. Now fires it downfield to Dave Newman, and there will be a call there, definitely, because Steve Johnson never looked at the football.
Well, part of this big crowd at Lansdowne Park today is pleased with that call.
Defensive pass interference. Saskatchewan number 17. First down.
Steve Johnson just looked right in Dave Newman's face the entire time. Now watch here.
Well, Steve Johnson cannot locate that football, and he just does anything he can do to try and break it up, and he got caught.
So Ottawa has possession at the Saskatchewan 11-yard line. Ottawa trailing 3-0. J.C. Watt stops, finds his receiver, and in for a touchdown with a flag on the play, however, is Chucky Davis. The touchdown will stand. They put a lick on J.C. Watts, and that's what the penalty will be about. But Chucky Davis scores the touchdown for Ottawa.
I told you he can catch the football. He's a good back, and like I say, he's looked better than he's had at any point in his time since he's been in Canada.
Here's the call from referee Ross Perrier. They'll enforce the penalty on the kickoff.
But, Jocko, I know you like Chucky Davis, but, boy, do I like the patience of J.C. Watts with traffic all around him. He just hung in there and waited, and finally Chucky Davis came open, and he found him.
Well, let's take a look at it one more time, because J.C. does a heck of a job here.
I'll give a lot of credit to Chucky Davis, but watch how patient J.C. Watts is. He doesn't throw the ball up for grabs. He just waits and waits. Finally, Chucky Davis comes open. He finds him. That's a nice finishing off the drive. Get that 7 points.
So it is Ottawa 7, Saskatchewan 3, and we'll be back in just a moment. Penalty is marched off on the kickoff, so Ottawa kicks from the 50-yard line. Craig Ellis in the end zone will concede the single point. I'll tell you, Rube Berry's got to be concerned. His club is ready, but 4 penalties on 5 plays.
You know, Pat, I was also going to mention they're honoring Jerry Organ today. If you had that kind of kicking field position, you'd have gone for the short kick with Jerry Organ. He would have just dropped it right in there, and you got a chance to get it. Really got a chance to get it, especially in a situation like that.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jocko. I think that occurred in an earlier ball game we did this year, and what a great chance to just get the ball right back again on an onside kick. If you don't get it, you've still got their team back around their 35, 40-yard line.
Leif, you were just looking at J.C. Watts getting some work on the left thumb. That was not what was hurt when he was manhandled. That's an old injury. He says outside of that, he's fine.
Paupau's pass is complete. And Tim Kearse was there to make this, the reception for Saskatchewan. Actually, pretty good catch because he had to go down and dig it out of the turf at the 42-yard line.
The other thing about a throw like that, it's good to see that ball low, because in that way it's either caught for a +7 or 8, and it's not thrown awry, or the other guy's not going to pick it off.
So it brings up second and about 3.5 yards to go for the first down. They give to Craig Ellis, and Ellis fights his way for yardage up to the 49-yard line. Looked like he was going to be stopped initially, but then he broke through the tackle and was able to pick up the first down. Actually gained 8 yards.
He got a good block from number 53, Jerry Hornett, pulling from his right tackle spot. There you see he does a good job on Rick Sovieta, allowing Craig Ellis to pick up that first down.
A little misdirection play. They start that I formation one way, and they cut it back the other behind a trap block. Is an excellent play, and a good back running it.
Paupau swings it out to Craig Ellis, but Al Washington wrapped him up early. Washington, the linebacker from Ohio State, is a good one.
He is a good one, Pat, and they've seen that on film a number of times. That's a little swing screen pass to Craig Ellis. Try and get a lineman out in front, and Al Washington read it so quickly. Force him back inside where you're going to get some help as well.
They lost about 4 yards on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 14. Saskatchewan, the ball at their 46-yard line.
And Al Washington's been a favorite of ours over the last couple of years, hasn't he?
Well, every time we see Ottawa play, he just is outstanding. Paupau going deep for Stu Fraser, but he couldn't get in behind Ken Miller, who had him step for step all the way down the field. You know, you talk about Al Washington. He has 22 tackles coming into this game. Not bad, and he's not the middle linebacker. Normally, middle linebacker will lead the club in tackles, but Washington has been a big cog in that Ottawa defense. Well, there's another penalty. Holding penalty against Saskatchewan, declined by Ottawa, and that will bring up a punting situation. Paul Hickey, averaging over 46 yards a boot this season, is in punt formation for Saskatchewan. It's a good one. And this is Aldridge from his 16-yard line. He gets out over the 25 to about the 26. And that's where Ottawa will begin. Bill, what's happening down there?
Gary Doolan, who is certainly one of the great defenders with this tough defensive club of the Ottawa Roughriders. Gary, what's happening out there?
Oh, well, they're throwing a lot of short passes right now. Trying to throw maybe a 5-yard pass and break a long one. But right now, we're shutting it down. Our defensive backs and linebackers coming up making the play.
Thank you, Gary.
Ottawa starts from their 26-yard line. They lead the ball game 8-3. We've got 7:05 left to play in this opening quarter. Pass goes to Chucky Davis. He gets a good block on the corner and then gets to about the 30-yard line for a pickup of 4. Stop was made by Rick Moore, number 76.
Rick Moore is an interesting story. You know, in the press conference yesterday, Reuben Berry did say that Rick Moore had not played up to his potential since coming over to Saskatchewan this year, and really said that he had to have a good game today or he was thinking of making a change.
Well, he was talking, though, Leaf, about the fact that he has played so much football, the USFL and now into the CFL, and he says, I just don't know if his legs can take all that football. That's one of the problems.
2nd and 6, Ottawa. J.C. Watts going downfield wide open is Dave Newman. He's got it. Touchdown, Dave Newman.
Ottawa's tough. Woo! 80 yards.
His 4th touchdown reception of 1984 for number 19, Dave Newman. Boy, was he wide open.
And did J.C. Watts deliver the ball? Wow.
Glenn Suter really got fooled on this play. Newman made a cut to the inside, then broke deep. No way he's going to catch him there. What a tremendous play by Dave Newman, who's having a good season this year.
Boy, Suter must have felt naked out there, though. He saw Newman in behind him, and he's saying to himself, I hope J.C. doesn't see him.
You know, in all fairness to him, Pat, I think Newman broke the pattern, just saw the opening and said, I'm going to go for it, and if J.C. can read it, we may have a big play, and they sure got one.
Well, you want to talk about big plays? 80 yards. And the Ottawa Roughriders have jumped out in front of Saskatchewan 15-3. We'll be back in just a moment.
How to build an expensive radial tire. You build it tough. So tough it meets or exceeds national brand specifications. You build it to last with a 5...
Where you've got all that speed from?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've always said I'm fast. I think I've been knocked the last 2 years. That one felt good.
How did it come about? They had the blitz on.
Well, they had the blitz on. We've been practicing all week. They like to use the blitz quite a bit because they use 6 defensive backs. And I think we were just lucky. We caught them just on the perfect play at the right time.
You seem to be getting better with age, Dave.
I hope you're right.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Dean Dorsey's kickoff. It is handled by Sammy Green. And Green gets to the 29-yard line, but Dan Rasovich, number 43, was down very quickly to make the stop.
I think now is when Saskatchewan has to come out here and show some cool and get some things going. They just can't, you know, this is where Pau Pau's character has to come on. He has to give them that leadership in a critical time because I think they can come back and they can move the ball they have early on.
They are going to start from their 29-yard line. Saskatchewan trailing 15-3 with 6 minutes left to play in this opening quarter. Flag is down. And the pass is caught by Stu Fraser, very nearly picked off by Ricky Barden, but good concentration by Stu Fraser, the veteran from the University of New Brunswick. Well, again, we've got another penalty against Saskatchewan.
That's killing. That's killing. Because that was an excellent play. Gets them upfield a bit, and then they...
Well, they're showing a lot of motion, and I suspect that it was somebody who was in motion.
Procedure, Saskatchewan number 5. First down repeated.
Sammy Green.
Well, it's tough. All you have to do at wide receiver is look inside and watch the ball being snapped. You never have to hear the snap count. It's really inexcusable.
Little play action. Pow fires it out. Tim Kearse was the intended receiver, but Ricky Barton was defending on the play, and Georgie was telling me yesterday that he thinks Ricky Barton is his best defensive back, and he might be the best in the Eastern Conference.
He's really playing well, right? And with that thought in mind, I thought they should be working the other side of the formation like they had some successes early on, working on Charlie Cornelius on the defensive left side. So I think he's got to come back that way right now.
It's second down, 15 yards to go. Saskatchewan back at their 24. There was movement by Ottawa's right defensive end. The pass downfield for Stu Fraser. He tried to make a one-handed catch but could not do so. Defending on the play was John Lynch and also Kenny Miller.
Jocko Rubenberry says he would like to see Joe Pow with a little more mobility. Now, do you think by that he means that it's something he can't add, or do you think he means he'd like to see him move a little more, even though he does not have great movement?
I think what he's saying is that he could just do a little half roll and set up behind his offensive tackle. That way, if you're rolling from the hash mark, you can roll even to the wide side of the field a couple steps and get it out that way.
Now, Bill, you know, I'd like to answer that, too, because when they went after Joe Pow, they knew he was a drop-back quarterback. He's been that way his whole career, so sometimes to ask him to do something he's not comfortable with is difficult.
It's 2nd and 10 right now after the 5-yard penalty for offside against Ottawa. The pass complete to Sammy Green up around midfield, and he's wrapped up right away by Charles Johnson at about the 53-yard line. Pickup is 23 yards at a very critical time for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
That's exactly what we're talking about, but I really like what Pow is doing now. He's moving the ball around, he's getting it on the inside, and he's challenging the inside defensive backs on the right, and then he's, like he is right here, and Sammy makes a good catch, and you got to really come up and wrap him up, otherwise he's going to bust it for a touchdown.
Pow's pass is complete to Chris DeFrance, and DeFrance steps out at the Ottawa 50. They'll have a pickup of about 8 yards.
Here comes the big horses in it for a short yardage situation.
Well, Pat, I guess that's Chris DeFrance's first catch of the season as he's making his debut after a tremendous season last year, I guess in the doghouse of Rubenberry earlier in the year, but now getting a chance to play an unfamiliar spot at wide receiver, usually an inside receiver.
He was a wide receiver in college, so good receivers can adjust anywhere up in this game, and he's one of them.
Craig Ellis takes the handoff and should have the first down. Rasovich and Al Washington, 43 and 17, were there to bring him down.
Jocko, he's a hard runner on those short yardage situations.
He's an aggressive guy. I really like Craig. He goes for it.
Unbelievable. He's averaging over 8 yards a carry in 1984.
He's been their whole offense so far in this early season, and he's a tough runner inside, picking up those couple of yards to get that first down.
Ball is spotted at the Ottawa 47-yard line. First down, Saskatchewan. Western Roughriders trail 15-3. Sammy Green had no place to go because the moment he got the ball, he looked up, and there was Ricky Barton.
They had a halfback blitz coming that time. He just sat right in the hole, just waiting on it.
Sammy probably said, "Why don't you keep the ball?"
Well, sometimes defensively you guess right, and in this case the safety blitz pays off as Ricky Barton grabs Sammy Green in the backfield, and under the new terminology this year, that goes as a sack.
Forget it. That's not a sack.
Well, that's the way they call it.
As a matter of fact, that's a point that the coaches are very distressed about. We'll get into it later.
Ottawa appeared to be offside. Pow looks, finally finds Ellis, and Ellis has what appears to be enough for the first down, and I suspect that Ottawa was offside, but now were they drawn off? Offside Ottawa. The play will stand.
Again, I like what Joe Pow did. He was looking around, he found the receiver, and the guy that he wanted to get it to was Craig Ellis, because Craig Ellis can make that catch and turn it up and make something big.
Spotter Bill Marsden points out that it was probably Gary Doolin offside, number 69. It's very close to being a first down. We're going to have our first measurement of the ball game, are we? Because it's close enough, possibly.
Offside, Ottawa, number 59. Declined, third down.
Gentlemen, getting back to the sacks, the coaches alluded to some of them being unhappy at least, and that is because they have special contracts with their players that pay them so much for quarterback sacks. Now suddenly, anybody you hit behind the line of scrimmage is a sack, and they don't agree with it. Nor do I, as a matter of fact.
I don't either, Bill. I'm with you.
Pow keeps it himself. Boy, he didn't move forward very much.
He didn't have to.
No.
I don't know if he made it, though.
Rather interesting. Reuben Barry, head coach of the Roughriders, was commenting about last night's game at Vancouver and saying that Don Matthews surprised him. He's not normally the type of a coach that takes chances, but he was taking them going on third down on 3 different occasions. Reuben says, you know, maybe he's got something there. We may have to do a little bit of that ourselves today.
He may never do it again if he hasn't picked up the first down here.
That's a point.
But they did pick up the necessary yardage. So Saskatchewan's drive will continue. They have the ball at about the Ottawa 36.5-yard line. We're down to 2 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in this opening quarter. Ottawa out in front, 15-3. Pow looking for Sammy Green, and it's knocked away. Good play by number 22, Charles Cornelius.
Jocko, that's the fellow you indicated they wanted to work against, but he goes up and makes a nice play over the top there to knock that ball away.
That was a great play on his part, you bet.
Pow has thrown the ball 13 times so far in this opening quarter. He's completed 8 of them for 77 yards. J.C. Watts has a couple of touchdown passes for Ottawa this afternoon.
They've had the Ottawa defense out on the field there for a while now.
On the draw, Craig Ellis is nailed back to the line of scrimmage at the 40-yard line. Ron Engelson, number 78, was in on the play. Boy, that's a killer, though. 2nd and 10. You think maybe you're going to cross up the defense, but it doesn't happen. And as a result, they'll be turning the ball over to Ottawa.
This is a game, though, Pat, whereby those fresh legs of Saskatchewan having 4 days off could pay in the second half because it is very hot today at Lansdowne Park.
Good point, Bill. The 47-yard field goal attempt turns out to be a fake. And there's Craig Ellis to make the catch.
There's a couple of athletes that made it up on their own.
Yeah, because I don't think that was the call.
I wonder about that, yeah.
Told you Rube was going to do different things.
Now, there's no question that was not a fake field goal. The ball just did not get on the tee properly. And Stu Fraser, so alert as he rolls out here, spots Craig Ellis. What a great play that is. They get a first down. They keep the drive going.
That's what I say. There's the athletic savvy of a couple good guys right there.
You know, Stu Fraser's a kid that I like, though. He's always in the football game.
Jerry Keating just admires that guy. He said he always makes the big play, the crucial play. He keeps the drive going right here.
For sure, Saskatchewan with a first down at the Ottawa 23. Pow looks to the end zone. Touchdown. Oh, he dropped the ball on the way down. Sammy Green had it stripped out of him by Charles Cornelius.
Get up, Sammy.
Well, you don't get too many chances in a ball game to star, and Sammy Green would like to have that one over again because really got the hands on it, and Charles Cornelius did not get in at the football. Made it tough for him, but I thought Sammy Green maybe was going to come up with that one.
Sammy's down in the end zone. May have twisted his leg on the way down. Well, he's a fellow that saw action with the British Columbia Lions. No question about it. He can fly. He's got the good speed. He's caught the ball well here this afternoon, except he wishes, as Lee points out, that he had made that catch because it would have put the Riders right back in the ball game.
Yeah, when you get in that end zone, you really have to make those catches. His club trails in this game 15-3, and you get a chance to see maybe twisted that leg on the way down. But gosh, you want to come up with the big play to bail your team out. Jocko, when you're a tight end for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Didn't you want to be the guy that made the big play to get your team back in the ballgame, though?
You try to make it, but I was fortunate to be playing with some guys like George Reed. They made more big plays.
Well, I played with George as well, and gosh, he was one of the all-time greats.
No, that's when the good football teams get down in here. This is when they got to score. They're in a situation right now, Saskatchewan. They got to get the major. I'd like to see them come in and make this game really tough.
Ivan Gutfried, the Saskatchewan trainer, attending to Sammy Green out there. Hopefully he'll get back in a ballgame. They need that speed and experience because they're a little thin at that wide receiver spot.
But, you know, this could be the most critical time in Saskatchewan's year right now because this is a game that they have to win. Fans want to see them get something going. You know, here's an opportunity. If they score a touchdown, they're back in this ballgame. If they don't get the touchdown, who knows, Ottawa might blow them away.
They'll come back. They got a good football team, but I'm just saying they have such excellent field position right now. They've had a good drive going, and I think this little lull right here is an advantage to Ottawa because the defense has been on the field for quite a while. Some of those big guys, they've been tiring a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what the veteran quarterback comes up with now.
I'd like to remind the Saskatchewan fans, too, the big game that takes place next week, next Sunday afternoon at 1:30 when the BC Lions are in town. That will be a real ball game, and I'm sure that's the one that Saskatchewan Roughriders and their fans would love to have.
You know, speaking of Saskatchewan, they've marched the ball 63 yards on this drive. They've kept it 5.5 minutes, but they still haven't put any points on the board. Pow looks to the end zone, but nobody was there. He was under tremendous pressure.
Now there's a situation where the receiver also has to be reading the defense. It's a blitzing situation. The receiver has to come back and look inside. Give that quarterback some help, much like Dave Newman did before for J.C. Watts. In other words, look back inside the quarterback and get the ball down the middle of the field.
I think it was Kenny Miller who was blitzing on the play, and he got to Pow. You can see that Joe is shaken up as he leaves the field. Pow came into this ball game averaging 55%. He had thrown 6 interceptions, though, and only 3 touchdown passes.
Well, there you see Kenny Miller coming on the halfback blitz, and the inside receiver has to read that coming.
Dave Ridgway's try for 3 points.
Wow.
Is good.
All right, they're living right. They're living right.
It hit the upright and went through. So it is now a 15-6 ball game in favor of Ottawa.
A little bank shot.
That was a good drive, and they come out of there with some points anyway. You got to come out of there with something.
We've got 21 seconds left to play in this first quarter. Ottawa has really looked impressive offensively, but they were aided by a number of Saskatchewan penalties. The Western Roughriders appear to have settled down a little bit.
The Greenies from Saskatchewan, they came in here, I know doggone well, talked with their coaches, talked with a lot of their players. They're ready to play. They're pumped up, and that's part of the reason for some of those early penalties. So it'll be interesting to see from the second quarter on how everything might mesh.
Ottawa's only had the football twice in this first quarter, and they've scored touchdowns on both occasions. This is Wayman Aldridge from the 20-yard line. He coughs up the football. Saskatchewan has recovered it at the Ottawa 32-yard line.
That is a big play.
Victor Stevenson makes the recovery. There's the hit by Steve Johnson. The ball pops loose. Victor Stevenson, number 58, picks it up. And all of a sudden, the Western Roughriders are right back in this ball game with 6 seconds left in this opening quarter. They have first down at the Ottawa 31-yard line. Pow looking for Ray Elgart, number 81. He's in place of Sammy Green. Sammy Green's on the field as well.
Pat, the story on Sammy Green is that he just had a slightly sprained ankle. They taped it up, and so he's all right.
All right, at the end of the first quarter, the score is Ottawa 15, Saskatchewan 6. We'll return with the second quarter in a moment. There you see what happened offensively. Ottawa with a big edge, but Saskatchewan now in a position to really come back. Pow had trouble with the pass from center. fires, and it is complete to Chris DeFrance at the 5-yard line. I like this guy. He has got the play.
And then the other thing that Paul did that time that Chris DeFrance did too, in other words, here comes the blitz. Look inside, receivers. Be looking inside. And that's what Paul mishandled the snap. Watch this ball. He's a little mishandled, but he didn't lose his cool, and he's looking inside, and the receiver takes an inside route because, again, with the blitzing situation, you have nobody at the free safety area.
Well, when you've got all that open field in there, that wide receiver does a good job. Cut into the middle. Powell read it perfectly.
Right on.
It is 1st and goal to go. Saskatchewan at the 6-yard line. The toss goes to Craig Ellis. He cut it back in nicely. He's in for the touchdown.
It's a new ball game.
It surely is.
That was the catalyst, that play, that mishandled kickoff return by Wayman Aldridge. The guy comes down, makes a good hit. Then that's the play that can turn the thing around and get you going, get you back on the scoreboard, get you in striking range.
Well, Craig Ellis, he's fired up, and what a good cutback he makes right here. Against the grain, everybody overruns it, and he just powers his way into the end zone. Good, tough running.
I'll tell you what a ball game it's going to be next Sunday, too. We've got Toronto playing host to Ottawa to see who's number 1 in the East.
Ha, ha, ha. I got a heck of a game up at Edmonton on Friday night. You think that won't be a dandy? Winnipeg and the Edmonton Eskies? The Eskies are tough at home, boy, I'll tell you that.
And Winnipeg looking really sharp.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Tommy Clements enjoyed going back to Ivor Wynn last night and pulling that game out 42-44. Touchdown passes. What a super night he had.
Let me tell you, you think those are important games, and they are, but maybe the most important game next weekend for the future of the two clubs is Calgary at Montreal. That's going to be one that means a lot for both teams. They both need wins badly.
That'll be a good football game. Both those teams are real good football teams.
Ridgway's point after is good, and now the Ottawa lead has been cut. Okay, it is Ottawa 15, Saskatchewan 13. We'll be back in just a moment.
As far as Ruben Berry is concerned, he feels that one of the major problems with his club over the early part of this season has been those turnovers. In 3 games, 6, 6, and 5, and it's been the receivers, basically, that haven't been able to hang on to the ball. This is a malady they have not had in this ball game. They've come up with some very good receptions. Pat?
All right, this is Dwight Edwards from his 6-yard line. Edwards, the former Saskatchewan Roughrider, gets out to about the 27, and that's where Ottawa will put it into play. If the Eastern Roughriders thought they were in for a laugher, they're in for a tough one tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, it'll be tough. You know, the one thing that's made a difference, like offensively, we talked about this just briefly, is Poley versus Doolin. In other words, if Doolin can overpower a center, and he can most of them, maybe the other 8, but he ain't going to do it to this guy. That's made a whole difference in what they can do offensively. It gives Powell some time. Now let's look at the other side of the coin.
All right, Ottawa starts from their 27-yard line. They lead it 15-13. They give the draw to the fullback, Jim Reed, and Reed fights his way out over the 35. He's got to pick up a very close to 8 yards before Eddie Lowe, the middle linebacker, number 42, was there to bring him down. Here's a guy that doesn't get his hands on the ball too often, but when he does a good job.
Good power fullback, excellent blocker, and every once in a while they decide to cross up the defense and give it to Jim Reed, and he usually does a good job.
Great guy in his specialty teams, too. Good, complete player.
2nd down, 1.5 yards to go. Ottawa, the ball just outside their 35. The give is to Chucky Davis. He has the first down as he gets to about the 38-yard line. Brought down by Willie Jones, number 77, who's playing that defensive tackle spot.
That's his first league game, isn't it? 6 or 7 years in the NFL.
Well, here's number 42, Eddie Lowe. He makes most of the plays on defense for Saskatchewan. Leading tackler coming into this ball game. Good head-on tackle there, Chucky Davis. Not enough, though, to keep him from picking up that first down.
Ball is at the 38-yard line. Ottawa, first down. Watts looks, throws to Reed, but he was hit immediately by Kenny McEachran, the monster back.
You know, there's been so many outstanding linebackers in the league this year. It's really fun just watching linebackers. I find myself doing that when I'm sitting home and watching the game on TV, watching linebackers. And
this is Jim Reed, and I'll tell you, it looks like he's popped that knee.
Yeah, Kenny McEachran really did sandwich him when Jim tried to catch that football, and from the look on Jim's face, that's painful. Let's have a look at it again. Watch the helmet go right in on the knee, the shoulder, and that knee just folds underneath. That's awful. Don't like to see that happen.
Ooh. Incidentally, you talk about bad luck. How about Bruce Walker? Kid that was, racked up, missed all of last season, relegated to a secondary role this year, picks up banged up ribs, then he finds out he's got mononucleosis. He's probably gone for the season.
He played the last game with a cracked rib that was dislocated. In other words, it was just right out of...
All right, we've got a 15-13 ball game. Ottawa leading it. We'll be back in just a moment. Jim Reed, and you've got to feel sorry for him. You've got to feel sorry for the Ottawa Football Club, too, because now Skip Walker is out of there. Jim Reed is out of there. He'll be replaced by number 39, Maurice Doyle from the University of Toronto.
Pat, for anybody that didn't hear, Skip Walker broke a bone in his foot last week in that victory over the Montreal Concords, and they expect him to be out for probably a month.
Skip says he doesn't know how long because he's never had a broken bone before in his career. He's been an extremely durable guy. Says the doctors tell me a month. He says, I don't know, maybe a week or 2 weeks.
Well, they need him, that's for sure. Second down, Ottawa from their 38-yard line. J.C. Watts doesn't get it away. The ball pops loose. Who's got it? Saskatchewan down at the Ottawa 25-yard line.
Wow, this thing is turning around now.
Rick Moore flew through there to nail J.C. Watts. The ball came loose. Saskatchewan has recovered it.
Let's take a look here. Well, I'll tell you what, they're really putting some pressure on here. And here comes Rick, and he really nails J.C.
Willie Jones has a good shot to pick up that fumble. He kicks it ahead. Let's see it once again. Rick Moore, he was under the gun coming in this game, and he's making some big plays already in this first half.
And he knows about it, too. In other words, he is cranking up. He only played 2 football games in the USFL, so he's not tired.
Well, you saw that was Jeff Roberts' first fumble recovery, and this is second game. Howpau's pass is over the head of the intended receiver, is fullback Greg Feger, with Rick Sovieta defending.
Jocko, the Saskatchewan offense seems awfully basic to me. Really no wrinkles. They've shown a bit of motion here in the first half, but those patterns are so stereotyped. Ottawa's really having no difficulty in covering them.
And especially when they put a lot of heat on them, then it gives Joe Paupau no chance really to throw the ball really well with that. So I think like right now is a big play.
Well, Rube Berry said that he took a lot of the offense away from his offense because he felt that they weren't perfecting it, so they're back to the basics. Howpau's pass is caught by Ray Elgart, and he fights his way inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who jumped in front 3-0, then had 15 straight points scored against them, are in a position now to take the lead.
I really like the way they read that one. Both the receiver, Elgart on the inside, and the outside receiver's cutting in, and he makes a good run following that, almost busted in. And Paupau makes the good throw.
Well, they catch Kenny Miller coming on a safety blitz.
Right.
John Lynch has to come a long way to pick up that receiver. He can't get there.
And it's an automatic pattern by the inside receiver, breaks him out.
The toss goes to Craig Ellis, and he cuts it back for the touchdown.
Almost a duplication of the first touchdown, where he cut it back up there, as Leaf was mentioning before, and he runs it in there aggressively. It's a new ball game.
Let's hear it for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who fell behind 15-3 and now find themselves out in front 19-15 as we take a look at Craig Ellis' second touchdown of the ball game. Nothing fancy. He saw the outside was total containment there by Ottawa, so he just cut it back into the center. 6 points. The point after by Dave Ridgway. And that's good. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders are now out in front by 5 points. It is Saskatchewan 20, Ottawa 15. We've got a dandy going for us. We'll be right back.
The girls say that they're one of their most favorite courses that they play on the tour throughout the year.
Wayman Aldridge in his end zone is going to bring it out. He was undecided momentarily. And he gets out over the 20 to about the 23. He was hit there by Jeff Roberts. Roberts is becoming a very prominent part of that Saskatchewan defensive scheme of things. He was down on that specialty teams to make the stop. He recovered a fumble. And incidentally, both Saskatchewan touchdowns have come as a result of Ottawa turnovers, so they're hitting.
And you're going to have McJunkins in at quarterback. J.C. Watt is out. It is that left thumb I told you about. It's making it impossible for him to take the snap from center. I don't think it's broken, but it is severely bruised and hurting him bad enough that I doubt if Watts will be back in the game. That left thumb.
Prince McJunkins III is the quarterback for the Ottawa Roughriders. He hands it off to Chucky Davis. And Davis cuts it to the 25 for a pickup of about 3. Rick Moore, number 76, was there to bring him down.
Patrick, there is more bad news also for the Ottawa Roughriders. Jim Reed, the big fullback, it is a ligament tear of the left knee.
Wow. That's devastating.
Boy, you talk about devastation, though. They don't have either of their running backs in there.
Or their quarterback.
Right. 2nd and 6, Ottawa at their 25. McJunkins elected to run it. He only got to about the 28-yard line, so Ottawa will be punting. Rick Moore was in. So, too, was Willie Jones. And this entire football game has turned around.
It's the aggressiveness of their defense and their specialty teams when they kept making those hits, forced those turnovers, and right now they're just really hungry. They're popping. Anybody that's with a black shirt and helmet is getting knocked down. I really like what they're doing, Saskatchewan. They're playing. Woo!
This is the first punt of the ball game for Kenny Clark. Does go over the line of scrimmage, and very alertly it's grabbed by Dave Singh. We'll have a no-yards penalty against Ottawa, and another, you can call this a turnover, really, and it's going to set up an opportunity for Saskatchewan to pick up another major score.
That's where they've had that break in the schedule and did something evidently as a coaching staff, and they worked on a lot of phases of their game, and that's what really made a difference.
Well, Jocko, with that break, they got some time off, you know, and when things are not going well, that's the best thing to do at times. Let everybody get away from it, regroup, get your thoughts sorted out, and come back with a refreshed attitude, and obviously that's what's happened to these players on the field today.
Come back with a fresh attitude and come back with an aggressive, fresh attitude. In other words, let's come back there and play football like it's supposed to be played. Let's come back and hit. And that's what they're playing. They're playing Saskatchewan tough today. Ottawa will be back in the ball game, gentlemen.
No yards.
Ottawa. They'll be coming back.
First down.
Well, there's referee Ross Perrier indicating the no yards penalty against Ottawa. Saskatchewan has a first down at the Ottawa 20-yard line. And Saskatchewan is out in front at this moment, 20-15, looking for more. The pass is complete to Chris DeFrance down at the 10-yard line. He'll be very close to a first down. Charles Johnson, number 38, brought him down. Chris DeFrance, I don't think I've ever seen him drop the football.
Let's have a look. Appears as though it was number 45, Billy Jackson, that maybe got in there to block that kick. Dave Singh, a very alert play to not only catch that football, but capture the no yards penalty as well. That's what set up this good scoring opportunity for Joe Paopao and his crew.
We were touching a minute ago on linebacker play. Billy Jackson is another one, maybe one of those outstanding rookie linebackers in our league, and I think that Stuart Hill in Edmonton is another one. But the linebacker play in the CFL has been outstanding, never been better in the 25 years I've been in the league. And that was another big play by a linebacker, as you indicated, Lee.
Jocko, I couldn't agree with you more. In this league with the wide field and only 3 downs, probably your best athletes at times are at linebacker because they have to play the run, the pass, and on such a big area they have to be tough and quick. They have to have all those ingredients in one, and we've got a good group in this league.
And you can find those guys because basically they're a 6-foot, 210-pound guy, plus or minus an inch, plus or minus 10 pounds. The good Lord made more of those guys than a 6'5", 280-pound guy.
When you say you can find them, it's because the NFL doesn't want them.
Second down, inches to go. Again, Paopao had trouble with the pass from center, but gets the pass away, and this time it is broken up. Big play by Charles Cornelius. It's funny, he has had trouble, though, with the pass from center on a couple of occasions.
And that was a hope shot right there. Really no chance to make the reception. Charles Cornelius really had a good opportunity to stall that drive with an interception.
Now, Saskatchewan will go on 3rd and inches for the first down.
I like the call, though. Play action when it's 2nd and short.
Paopao keeps it, dives to the 9-yard line. It'll be first and touchdown to go, Saskatchewan.
Pat, I was talking to Jerry Keeling regarding the couple of times that Pau, they had to mishandle the snaps in the last ball game. They coughed it up twice. And he said sometimes a new football comes into the ball game, and it's not tacky. It's the process of the way that they're making the football and everything, and it's a slick feeling football. And that ball just doesn't come up. In other words, that is a great veteran center, and that's a veteran quarterback. Shouldn't happen, but it's happened twice today, and he's recovered both of them, or controlled the football.
First down, Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 9. Flag comes down, a time count violation against Saskatchewan. Well, that's a big penalty. You know, instead of inside the 10, now you're out close to the 15.
He can still throw a couple deep ones, though, can he?
Yeah. You know, when people talk about football and they say the Canadian Football League versus the NFL, I love our end zones.
It's great.
25 yards because you don't eliminate anything then.
That's
in the
exactly.
NFL, you eliminate much of your passing scheme.
Time count violation, Saskatchewan, number 6. First down repeated.
We talked about defenses that bend and don't break. That's an NFL term because you come down to the 10-yard end zone. If you play defensive philosophy that way, you'll bend all the way for a -7.
Pau throws inside. It is broken up by Ken Miller. Looking for Ray Elgart. He is furious. He wants an interference call against Kenny Miller, but I don't see a flag.
Pat, I don't see a flag either, and I really don't blame Ray Elgart in this situation because it looked as though Kenny Miller's draped all over him right here. The hand's in there first. I think Elgart's got a legitimate beef.
Little face guarding, don't you think?
It possibly could be thrown in as well, Bill.
Well, Kenny Miller disagrees with you. He thinks he made a great play. Obviously he did because there's no points on the board. Pau. No good, looking for Krista France. It would have been a very difficult catch. He dove, tried to scoop it off the ground, and wasn't able to do so.
This is a good defensive stand by Ottawa.
Under pressure, Pau just not able to get that ball into Krista France. He made an excellent effort to come up with it. But I'm sure Joe's dejected right there. He would have liked to get that 7 points. They're going to settle for a Ridgeway field goal attempt, but he wanted to get the touchdown.
He had to hump that ball a little bit more, didn't he? Give
that penalty hurt, though, too.
Yes,
you know, I mean, inside the 10 is a lot different than the 15.
Oh, yeah.
Point after the field goal try by Ridgeway is good, and now the Saskatchewan lead is 8 points. Saskatchewan 23, Ottawa 15. At one time, it was 15-3 in favor of Ottawa. If you've just joined us, the Roughriders from Ottawa have lost starting quarterback J.C. Watts and starting fullback Jim Reed to go along with the absent Skip Walker.
And on top of that, Larry Titley, their starting center, had a knee operation. So when you looked at an I formation, you see your center, your quarterback, your fullback, and your tailback. All 4 of those guys are down.
You know, we were talking to George Brancato yesterday as we take a look at J.C. Watts. I said to Georgie, what happens if McJunkins goes down and Watts goes down? He said, well, I don't know who will play. Maybe Tom Dimitrov. Bill, what's happening?
J.C. Watts, as I told you about the time. J.C., can you explain exactly when it happened and what it's doing?
Well, it's on that play that they got me where Rick Moore came in and got me and I fumbled the ball. And it's just an old injury to my left thumb that keeps it, I don't have any strength in it right now. But we're going to try to make a protective cast and hopefully I can play the second half.
The flag is down as Dwight Edwards fights his way over the 40-yard line. Boy, if you're a coach, you've got to like the way that kid ran the kickoff back.
He has got such great speed and everything. He almost took off. There's a holding call on that return.
J.C.'s now going in the dressing room, Pat, to get that thumb and the special cast made for it to see if he can get into action in the second
Ottawa
half.
number 64. First down.
The holding call is against number 64, Tim Hook.
Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, but did J.C. not have surgery on that thumb last year? Is that
Right.
the same one?
He missed some games last year because of it. You're right.
And he did have surgery. That is correct.
Saskatchewan has had the ball the entire game because Ottawa on their first 2 possessions struck so quickly. Ottawa starting from their 21, Prince McJunkins at quarterback. Now, did the ball come loose? It did, but Ottawa appears to have recovered. Jim De Silva, the center, number 54, was able to recover it for Ottawa.
It's a statement I've made 1,000 times. The football is a game of emotion. You can see the way the thing has shifted from one team to the other. And I'll tell you, the Greenies are really cranked up and playing. They're controlling both sides of the line of scrimmage right now.
It's also a game of ability, and Prince McJunkins doesn't have as much as J.C. Watts.
You got that right also.
McJunkins' pass is complete over the 30 to about the 31-yard line to Wayman Aldridge.
He sat in there, looked pretty good that time.
He did. And Aldridge made sure that he had the first down when he made his cut.
All right, let's go with this now. Watch Wayman Aldridge right here. He's just going to hook back to the quarterback, let it run. But he made sure that he had himself enough yardage for that first down. That's a good job by the inside receiver.
Steve Johnson, number 17, was there to bring him down, but Ottawa has the first down at their 32-yard line. McJunkins quickly fires it out to Dave Newman, and Newman fights his way over the 35 to about the 38-yard line, and then a flag comes down, and will likely have a rough play penalty against Saskatchewan. Leroy Paul and Kenny McEachran were there to bring him down. 15-yard penalty. This will help the Ottawa cause.
Major foul, unnecessary roughing, Saskatchewan, number 4. First down.
Could have almost counted that it was Leroy Paul.
Remember, Pat, when we asked the head coach of the Ottawa Roughriders, George Brancato, what he'd do if both quarterbacks, Watt and McJunkins, were injured? He said, nobody. Maybe I'd have to go in.
That could happen. Flags are down. So is McJunkin. Rick Moore came barreling through there, and Eddie Lowe was there as well.
Number 71's offside.
Get the good peepers going for you, Jocko, because that's exactly what happened, and that sack won't mean a thing because Ottawa will be 1st and 5. But, you know, I want to make this point. Saskatchewan's really fought back. They're ahead 23-15, and now roughing penalties and those things, you just don't want to let a team get back in the game with unnecessary penalties. It drives me crazy to see it happen.
Saskatchewan, number 71. First down repeated.
Well, as Jocko pointed out, Jeff Roberts, the defensive end, number 71, was offside. So it's 1st and 5, Ottawa. The ball now in Saskatchewan territory at the Western Roughriders 52.5-yard line. This is Chucky Davis. And he's in very close to the 42. It's a first down, Ottawa, as he picks up 10 yards. Steve Johnson and Terry Urban, 17 and 32, brought him down.
That we were talking about, we said that we felt that Ottawa would be coming back in here. Chucky makes a good run here. He's a good back.
And he gets an excellent block from number 67 there, Rudy Phillips, on your screen. But a good cutback to set up that block for Rudy Phillips as well.
Going into this weekend, Ottawa is the only team with 3 wins. Saskatchewan, the only team without a win. There is parity in the league, and it's proved on the field right now.
To be sure, it is first down, Ottawa at the Saskatchewan 42. This was to be a quarterback draw, I think, but Rick Goltz kind of fouled that up because he was right in the quarterback's face when he made his move.
Saskatchewan's front 4 is playing. They're playing tough, and here comes a little blitz by Lowe coming in there. Rick Goltz wraps him up. Big, strong guy. Good football player.
Well, that was a good call, Pat. He was trying that quarterback draw, but when you got the blitz coming, it's a tough play to execute.
Just shut down one of those running lanes, and he has nowhere to go.
The loss is 4 yards. It is 2nd and 14. McJunkins. Oh, no catch by Dwight Edwards. He was concentrating so much, I think, on staying in bounds that he just didn't hang on to the ball.
He has played very well for Ottawa.
All right, here's Dwight Edwards at the top of your screen. Watch as he comes upfield, works his way to the sidelines, puts a super move on Leroy Paul. Unfortunately, cannot hang on to the football, but he just loses Leroy right there. Leroy has no idea where the football is. Unfortunately, he could not come up with a catch.
That's a good defensive back that he turned inside out there.
Boy, it sure is. I've never seen Dwight Edwards play with more confidence than he has this year. Unfortunately, couldn't come up with that catch, but had a good game in Montreal last week.
Pass from center is rolled back to Ken Clark, but he gets the boot off. And this is Fran McDermott. He's got some good moves, hasn't he?
You bet. Hamilton remembers him on punt returns.
Dan Rasevich again was there to make the downfield tackle for Ottawa. Saskatchewan will start inside their 20-yard line when we come back. It is Saskatchewan 23, Ottawa 15. We'll be back in a moment.
Half. They've retaped that ankle of his that was slightly sprained, and the last word I got was he probably won't come back until the second half. If he comes back, they'll see how it comes along.
Thank you, Bill. Saskatchewan starting from their 18-yard line. Nothing fancy, just give it a Greg Figure, and he bowls his way to the 25. Here's a look at Sammy Green, who was injured on that attempted catch in the Ottawa end zone back in the first quarter. Jocko, you've stood on this field. Were you impressed?
Oh, this is just outstanding. The crew that put in the new turf at McMahon Stadium came here the very next week and put this one in, and they're two great playing surfaces.
Second down, 3 yards to go. Saskatchewan from their 25. Again, this is Greg Figure. Boy, that hole opened up quickly. Ricky Barton upended him, but not before he gets the first down.
An excellent job by number 68, Laurie Scoward, and 44, Roger Aldag on that left side, and they open up a huge hole for Greg Figure. Watch that. Just knock those guys down inside. They were pinching down a little bit. Makes it an easier block, but a good cut by Greg Figure to pick up that first down.
Saskatchewan's offensive line is outstanding. They're doing a good job today. They've been good for the last few years.
They call him the heart.
Craig Ellis nailed right at the line of scrimmage. He couldn't get away that time. There to make the stop was Greg Marshall, number 66. We're down to just 2 minutes, 5 seconds left to play in this first half. It is Saskatchewan 23, Ottawa 15. Ottawa at one time led this ball game 15-3. Pow. Pass was underthrown. He was looking for Tim Kearse. Kearse has caught only one pass this afternoon for 6 yards. Craig Ellis has been their most productive receiver. He's been called upon to make 4 catches, and of course he has 2 Saskatchewan touchdowns. So on third down, Saskatchewan will be punting as Dwight Edwards drops back along with Dave Newman at the Ottawa 30-yard line. Another good boot by Paul Hickey. This is Edwards at his 27. Edwards is all the way down to the Saskatchewan 42-yard line.
He's having a heck of a year for Ottawa.
A 53-yard boot, but a 41-yard return. Let's take a look at it.
What he does so well is he does not completely accelerate till his blockers set up. Watch him as they set up. Now he turns the jets on, and you just can't teach that. He does a great job. Last week in Montreal, 97-yard kickoff return, and this time great block by number 59, Jack Williams, to help set it up. But he gives them good field position time and time again.
Well, if I was Steve Johnson, I might be a little upset because I think John Lynch pushed him from behind. Anyway, this is Chucky Davis, and Davis is dropped at about the 40-yard line by Steve Johnson.
Again, this is the part of the field that you have to keep moving it up for. Don't take a minus anything because you're in field goal range now. Again, you got 3. Maybe you have 3 in the bank working on 7. Don't take a minus 6 on a sack or anything, any crazy play.
Pickup was 3 yards. It is second down, 7 to go, Ottawa, with 1:24 left to play in this first half. Ottawa trails it by 8 points. Well, he gets to about the 36 or 37 before Willie Jones brings him down, but we will see the Ottawa field goal unit.
45-yard field goal is what he got to hit now. But those guys can all do it, it seems like to me. Pat, the guy that they're honoring at halftime, Jerry Organ, once we got in this side of the field, it was As a coach, you just added 3. And if he didn't make it, you knew that the holder goofed.
Well, his replacement this year is number 2, Dean Dorsey. He's been good on 6 of 6 already this season. He's really got that stroke down pat. I watched him in the warm-up, really kicking the ball well.
From 44 yards out, it is good.
15 yards deep in the end zone. I mean, those guys can really hammer it.
I'll tell you, this is a good football game, though.
It is.
It's 23-18 right now. Saskatchewan leads it with 56 seconds left to play. And I'm really glad for Saskatchewan that they played well.
This is really a good football game, but the Rider Classics always have. And the best one is I was a part of as an assistant coach back in '66 Grey Cup when the 2 Riders met. And I said, hey, at that time, why don't we play for the name? The loser changes their name. 9 teams in the league and 2 got the same name.
That's funny. One of the games I'd like to forget was the '76 Grey Cup when both Riders played. And Tony Gabriel made that great catch in the end zone to pull it out 23-20.
And he won the trip anywhere that you would have won had you guys won.
And I won the free car ride to Sault Ste. Marie.
A trip to Flin Flon for Lee.
Now, I don't want any letters from Sault Ste. Marie.
No, we love the Sioux, and we like Flin Flon and we like
home
everybody.
of Phil Esposito and all those great hockey players up there. Super spot.
Okay, we're down to the final minute of this first half.
A good football game. That's what's most important right now, right?
And a heck of a crowd, too, for Jerry Oregon Day.
A beautiful stadium, a beautiful setting here. Wow.
Couldn't be a nicer day. It's got to be about 76, 77 degrees. Might be a little warm on the ball players. Dorsey's kickoff bounces out of bounds at the 17. So he'll have to do it again.
Let you talk about a warm for the ball players before the game, walking on that AstroTurf. My feet were really hot. I mean, the temperature was unbelievable on turf level there. I wonder if Bill could feel the heat down there as we approach the end of the second quarter.
Well, let me tell you, the heat down here, and I'm standing with Skip Walker, and we're standing underneath the columns, and it's nice and shady, and it's beautiful. Right, Skip?
That's right. Love it down here.
He's from Texas, though.
Skip, how's that ankle? How long do you think? The doctors say a month. What do you think?
Well, I think it might be a little less than that. I'm putting a lot of weight on it now, and if we can tape it up good enough, I'm going to try to go in maybe 3 weeks.
You've never had a broken bone before, right?
Never had one. It's the first one.
You're one of the indestructible men.
Yeah, I wish that was so. Everything was going pretty good in training camp. It seems like when the season starts, it's one thing or another, and now it's a broken foot. So
you just saw JC. He just went in the dressing room. Think he'll come back?
Yeah, I think so. They try to put a cast on his thumb, and if he can take a snap, he'll be back.
This is Craig Ellis. And Ellis dives over the 45 to the 46, so the Western Riders got lots of time, 53 seconds.
You see him dive for another 3 or 4 of them.
He's in the game. Craig Ellis has played very well for Saskatchewan.
Let's have a look at the rookie Dan Rasevich, number 43. He and Stu Fraser get into a good bumping match. All right, Stu, good receiver knocking a linebacker down. I like that.
Well, you talk about guys being in ball games. Fraser's in every part of it. And he makes the catch at the 53-yard line for a pickup of about 7. Charles Cornelius hit him immediately.
Things have sure changed in Saskatchewan, Leaf. Receivers never used to do that, eh?
Well, guys that wore number 71 didn't.
Pow's pass is caught by Tim Kearse in Ottawa territory at the 48. Well, I'm glad to see him get up because Ricky Barton hit him a pretty good lick, and he folded back over his legs. You know, you were talking about hockey players in the Sioux. Dean Dorsey of the Ottawa Roughriders played goal for the Sioux in Junior A hockey.
He was a good one.
This pass is thrown out of bounds. Thanks to my friend George Cootie for giving us that information.
Well, that pass right there, that's a clock stopper because nobody was open, and Pow wants to regroup. 35 seconds left. Just get that ball out of bounds. Stop it, and let's huddle up and figure out what we're going to do.
Some of the quarterbacks now, instead of grounding the ball, I mean, they never get called grounding a football if they throw it 35 yards into the stands to the guy selling popcorn. That has always irritated me. They can throw it 4 yards in front downfield, and it'd be called for grounding, but they throw it up to the popcorn guy, and it's never called. Ridiculous.
Pow's pass was behind the intended receiver, Ray Elgar. Now it is 3rd down, 10 yards to go, Saskatchewan. The ball at the Ottawa 49, and Dave Ridgway comes out. So this would be a 56-yarder.
Now he's got a breeze favoring him. That'll be a long kick, though.
Look for something other than a field goal.
Yeah, like a punt.
Okay.
No.
Well, they're going to line up in field goal position. It would be a 56-yarder. He puts it up.
Give him one. Give him one. Take it out up here.
Oh, why? There's not enough time. Dwight Edwards returns this thing, dances around. A flag comes down. We could have a face mask call. And with only 23 seconds, why give them a point?
No, I'm just saying that the ball comes back up here, Pat. One more first down, you're in for 3. It's
You're
where
an
you want.
optimist.
Oh, yeah. If you want aces, deuces, or trades, that's what the game's
Jocko,
about.
now wait a minute. That's why you're up here now.
Oh, they're getting nasty, Jocko.
Oh, yeah.
Ottawa number 7.
2 against 1.
First down.
Well, they'll be able to run this clock out. Penalty actually was against Ottawa. So they'll start at their 3-yard line with 23 seconds. And if Prince McJunkins wants to, he can just run the clock out. And I would suspect that's what he'd like to do.
I would suspect that George Brancato would expect him to do that.
Yeah.
George doesn't have his black shirt on today, but he changed into it in a hurry.
He just takes it, falls forward to the 5. And Ottawa will not be forced to punt in this situation because with just 21 seconds left, it is now only second down.
Well, Saskatchewan has a timeout, Joe, Pat.
Yeah, but have they called it now?
Yes, trying to call it right now.
Yeah. But you know what? They let 4 seconds go off the clock. It's 17 seconds now.
Yeah,
Saskatchewan
they made a real
has
mistake.
called.
Ottawa still can run the clock out. Well, they should have called it when they had about 21 seconds left, and then Ottawa would have had to punt.
So I'm saying that Saskatchewan could come back and have another shot at 3, couldn't it, Pat? Huh? That's what I'm saying before. If you conceded the ace before, you come out to midfield, you get the first down, and you go for 3 instead of the other guy, but you're giving up the 1. So that's just a matter of whether you want to win by 1 or lose by 1, you know.
Well, I'll concede if you want, so that we don't have to talk about it the rest of the game. Later tonight, of course, we'll have the 1984 Summer Olympic highlights for you here on CTV, and it all starts at 10 o'clock Eastern Time.
Boy, Pat, you talk about the Olympics. That opening ceremonies last night were just fabulous. Lloyd Robertson hosting that CTV show, and boy, Bill, you and I watched it along with Bobby Layton, and it was just a spectacular Hollywood production.
Well, everybody will agree with that, I'm sure, Leaf.
Clock will not start until the ball is snapped, but it's really academic because Ottawa can still kill it with their next down. Now we've got a time count violation. You want to talk about big plays, Jocko? That could be a big play because they won't start the clock now because of the time count violation, and Ottawa will have to punt.
Third down.
I think you were right. I'd have given up the single point.
Boy, look at your friend George Brancato, Jocko. He is as hot as you'll see Georgie.
Well, that's unforgivable.
The last time I saw him like that was walking off the field up at the Edmonton game up there at their... the ball was thrown for an intercept.
I'd put the punter back to receive this one.
Oh, wow. Good punt by Ken Clark. This is Stu Fraser, and he kicks it back. But he doesn't get it into the end zone. A flag comes down.
No yards.
Well, that's a heads-up play by Stu Fraser.
Well, we've got penalties on the play, so let's wait.
That's Canadian football. It's interesting. The kicking game is just great. And the guy that really got me interested in the kicking game is the guy that did it for Jerry Organ. He just taught me so much about the kicking game.
First down.
And in the Canadian kick game, it just, that guy's something. He's the one that started that short kickoff.
Well, they're going to honor him here today at halftime. Jerry Organ, the leading scorer in Ottawa football history and the second leading scorer in Canadian Football League history after the great Dave Cutler.
He was talking to me just before the game. As a matter of fact, Jocko, he said, I hope Jocko's here. He says he's the man that brought me into football.
As a free agent, eh?
Boy, this final 56 seconds has taken an hour. There's still 2 seconds left on the clock.
Be careful what you're saying there, Pat, about those hours.
Yeah. It's been a good football game, though. Saskatchewan's out in front by 5 points. Ottawa will kill the clock on this play. And they'll go to the locker room hoping that J.C. Watts will be able to come back out for the third quarter. We'll find out. The gun sounds to win the first 30 minutes of play. It is Saskatchewan 23, Ottawa 18. We'll be back in just a moment with yesterday in the CFL.
3:18 at halftime. Take it away, Patrick.
All right, well, on the kickoff, Wayman Aldridge and Dwight Edwards got their signals crossed up, and as a result, the ball goes into the end zone, and Aldridge will concede the single point, so make it a 24-18 score now in favor of Saskatchewan.
Wayman was lined up too deep right off the start of the kickoff. He's back on the goal line. He could have been up about the 10-yard line from where the guy's been kicking all the time, and there's just a little wind that they're going into, the kicker. So mishandled that one, cost them an ace.
Well, there's a look at what happened statistically. You see Saskatchewan really came back in that second quarter, and they end up with 168 yards offensively to only 130 for Ottawa. Prince McJunkin still in there. This is Chucky Davis. There's a flag down. He coughs up the football. Saskatchewan indicating that they have recovered. And they have. Willie Jones was there to make the tackle on Chucky Davis, but Saskatchewan comes up with the football again. Holding against Ottawa, that will be declined by Saskatchewan. And looky, Saskatchewan again in business now at the Ottawa 42-yard line.
Another turnover.
And we just finished doing the highlights where Saskatchewan was able to take advantage of those right away. They have another great opportunity at the Ottawa 42-yard line.
Joe Paopao was shaken up in the first half, but he didn't miss any of the series. His pass is complete to Stu Fraser, who's forced out at the 36-yard line. Making the stop there for Ottawa was number 22, Charles Cornelius, the cornerback on that side.
They've been working in front of Cornelius a little bit, Pat. And again, we're just talking about he's about on the 43-yard line, and he's moving in. He's already got 3. He's working on 7. He's got good field position right now. The way the guy's been kicking, he's got a cinch 3 is what he's figuring. So let's keep working for the major.
Ball is at the Ottawa 36-yard line. Paopao over the middle. That was a good catch by Ray Elgard, who takes it down to very close to the first down marker. He was hauled down by number 75, Rick Sovieta, but he's close to a first down. They're going to bring the sticks up.
Elgard has done a good job of running and making a couple of key yards after the catches on a couple of important occasions. This one and one that set him up for a touchdown earlier in the game.
Second catch of the ball game by Ray Elgard. He's got a total of 28 yards, and he does pick up that first down. So now Saskatchewan on the move at the Ottawa 31.5-yard line. Saskatchewan first down. Well, you know, we just harkened back, Jocko, to something you said in the first half. Nothing very fancy, basic football. They're doing a good job.
Don't turn the ball over. In other words, that's been Saskatchewan's problem. I mean, that's been Ottawa's problem, where they've turned the ball over. Just don't do anything foolish. Don't beat yourself.
First down, Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 20. Over the middle, and it was very nearly intercepted. It hit Ray Elgard in the back of the helmet.
All right, let's have a look at this. Kenny Miller at the bottom, number 7, is coming on that safety blitz. Elgard reads it, comes into the middle, but he doesn't look quickly enough to catch that pass. Hits him in the back of the helmet. Let it go here. Here's the safety blitz. Elgard's got to read that quickly. He's looking inside, but it hits him right in the back of the helmet.
So it's 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Looking for Craig Ellis. Rick Sovieta was on him, but again, that's a matchup that Saskatchewan would love because you've got the running back on the linebacker.
Good point.
But it goes for naught, and we will see Mr. Ridgway again. But this will be an important 3 points because the Saskatchewan lead at this moment is 6. This would make it 9, and Ottawa could not come back, take the lead, or even tie the ball game, even if they were to succeed on a touchdown on a 2-point conversion.
Your arithmetic's always been good, Pat.
Really good. And it's good. So Dave Ridgway does his job, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders increase their lead to 27-18. We'll be back in a moment. Well, Ottawa has turned the ball over 4 times. Saskatchewan has 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals as a result of that. White Edwards from his 16. And he gets to about the 33 or 34, and that's it.
The fans here are getting pumped up with their wave.
You can tell they haven't had much practice with the wave. They're a little rusty on the wave.
They better watch television and watch it coming from BC place, right?
I'll tell you, they're not short on noise.
No,
Well, it's getting better now, though.
they're into it. It's good.
Well, their ball club has to get pumped up now because they trailed by 9 with a first down at their own 34-yard line. Pass is deflected and picked off again by Saskatchewan. Steve Johnson makes the interception and gives Saskatchewan possession at the Ottawa 43, and this is turning into a nightmare.
The linebacker deflected the ball there.
You're absolutely right, Jocko. Watch Dave Newman on isolation here. He's running a hook pattern, but I don't know if we'll see it. Number 42, Eddie Lowe from the middle linebacking spot comes across and tips the ball. Good reaction by 17, Steve Johnson. They've got another turnover. Excellent field position. They're really making their own breaks today.
It's a funny thing. Sometimes when that wave comes on, and it takes away from your team's momentum.
From the 43-yard line, Joe Paupow and his offense go to work, but Craig Ellis is nailed in the backfield. Ottawa was really coming, and that was Greg Marshall. Well, they needed a big play defensively, and they get it from the guy who's been their big play man over the years.
He's really a good football player. He really works hard.
And there's our old friend Al Washington with good penetration, too. He obviously was blitzing on the play, but it was Greg Marshall who was there to bring him down back at the 48-yard line. So it's a loss of 5, make it 2nd and 15. Now going deep, and the catch is made down at the 13-yard line. And that was Craig Ellis again. Boy, he flew out of that backfield and got downfield in a hurry.
Remember, we saw that mismatch before. I think they were just running him on that same route, and he took it up. That was one that had been set up from before.
A 35-yard gain on the pass from Paupow to Craig Ellis.
That was a great offensive play.
Well, did you not think he'd cut the ball, Leaf? Is that what?
Well, no, I thought he cut the ball. I wasn't sure it was Craig Ellis. That's all, Pat. He made a great catch, great effort. But you know what else they did so well? They were coming with the all-out blitz again, and Saskatchewan offensive line just did a super job to pick it up and give Paupow the time to throw that football.
You know, the story of this game, Leaf, has been the fact that Saskatchewan, who are being used to dropping the ball, are not only hanging on, but they're making great catches. That 4-day layoff may have been the biggest thing that has happened to the Saskatchewan Roughrider Club.
They've played well on many occasions, but not long enough in the game. They didn't give it the full 60 minutes, and there's still a ways to go yet, but they have really played well to this point.
Incidentally, the line judge, Jake Haynes, number 74, who was injured on the opening kickoff, has not returned, so this game is being played now with 5 officials.
Safety blitz.
Whoa! Oh, Kenny Miller almost returned it for 6 for Ottawa. He stepped in front of Ray Elgard at the last moment, and he just couldn't hang on.
That whole new turf was all in front of him. Wasn't about 100 yards of new turf.
Well, he breaks on the football perfectly here, cutting underneath. The only thing he did wrong was not hang on to that one, or he was easy 6. Ottawa's really going after Saskatchewan with a variety of blitzes now. Halfback, safety, and linebackers, everybody's coming.
Pow for Sammy Green, and that's overthrown. Well, boy, the defense did their job.
So I say, this is a good football game. There's a lot of emotion involved in this game right now. It's going to be good right down to the wire, I would think.
Notice that Sammy is not running too well. Green has that ankle that he injured early in the ball game. It's a sprain. It's been rewrapped. He did not play for the last portion of the first half, but after going through the halftime, he's giving it a try and hoping he can keep on going.
Ken Miller, you see, probably has leg cramps. That's what it appears to be.
I agree with you, Bill. I think Sammy Green kind of just gave up on that pass pattern. Saw if the ball was going to be overthrown, just really let up on the play, and as he came off towards the bench, was limping noticeably.
Well, if you've just joined us, this is a bit of a shocker as you look at Sammy Green. Pass was overthrown. The reason I say it's a shocker is because Ottawa was favored, of course, to win this ball game, but when you lose your starting quarter, it will come from the 20-yard line. And it's good. So with 9 minutes and 37 seconds left to play in the third quarter, it is Saskatchewan 30, Ottawa 8.
It's always a fun place to be, Jocko.
Right, you got that right. That's a great place to...
Ricky Barton really had trouble picking up the ball, and he finally falls forward to the 32-yard line, which is where Ottawa will put it in, and now Barton comes up limping. So Ottawa just having a hatful of injuries here today.
Problem with Ken Miller, though, Pat, was strictly cramps, as you had surmised earlier, so it's not serious.
And Ricky Barton trots off, so he'll be back as well. But they've got to score some points now. Dave Ridgway has 5 field goals here this afternoon. McJunkins throws, and Wayman Aldridge took the hit, made the catch, though. Brad McDermott just unloaded on him.
He can catch the ball as a receiver, but he's been having trouble as a kick returner. But that was a heck of a hit. That was a good catch. He took a shot.
23 yards, the reception.
Well, this is a defensive back's dream. You see that receiver, you've got him in your sights, and watch the collision right here. What an outstanding job of Wayman Aldridge to hang on to that football.
And as you guessed, he's the one that's down. Ball is right at midfield.
That's hard if the quarterback called your pattern again on that same one, isn't it? Hey, Leaf, did you like that one? He said, well, run that one again, Leaf. The one you made 18 yards on, or 28, whatever you made.
Throw it in the dirt so I can go down and get it. Don't have to take that lick.
Jocko, how did you get Wayman Aldridge?
We just had him out of a free agent camp. We worked him there, but Pat Hill was one of our line coaches at the time, had coached him at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He said this kid could play. It was the first guy that we had signed, going into the 83 season.
Well, I know that George Brancato was delighted to get him. Was that a surprise to you that he ended up in Ottawa?
Oh, not at all. Dickie Adams had coached with us last year doing the personnel thing there, and he said, I'd heard that they might be letting him go. So they made a trade. It's been a trade that was good for both clubs. Sharon kid that goes out to Calgary is doing an excellent job there. Canadian receiver, and the numbers worked out well for both clubs.
You know, it's funny. You talk about Phil Sharon. He can catch the football.
He's an excellent player. Yeah.
Well, we saw him in a game last year, Leaf. Do you remember in Winnipeg where Ottawa scored late in the ball game, and the biggest play of the ball game happened on a third down situation? Was Phil Sharon that made the big catch.
Absolutely. When you get a young kid that can come up with those pressure catches, that's an added plus to your offense, because you'll go back to him time and time again.
I wanted to ask Jocko about Jerry Organ. For a time, he didn't think he was going to break in as a kicker, and I gather that you had to take a look at him a little bit before you decided he was going to be able to kick. Jocko, what was the story behind that?
Well, he's one of those guys that came in as a soccer-style kicker, and when you're not used to that, and hadn't seen much of that before. And then in comes a guy like Jerry, and he's just really banging the football. The other thing is that he could catch the football as a receiver, an outstanding athlete. And then he came up. He's such a bright guy. He came up with the short kickoff, and he could kick with either foot, and he just changed the whole kicking game. And such a cool head. In other words, as a coach, I felt really fortunate to have a guy like that. And then the other guy in the major part of my coaching years is J.T. Hay, also from down this area. Great guys and great kickers, and someday J.T. Hay will be a guy that will be honored like Jerry Organ was today. But Jerry was just outstanding.
Jerry had to sell you on him, though, didn't he, and his style of kicking?
Yeah, a little bit, but after you see the results, after bang, after one, after the other, I'll say, this guy's all right. He's for real. He was just great over many, many years.
Well, you can see what this game means to Ottawa. If they win it, they are in sole possession of first place. Otherwise, they're tied with Toronto, and they have the showdown that we'll have for you next Sunday. Prince McJunkins did a good job. He ad-libbed his way, and now he'll get an extra 15 yards because Jeff Roberts will be assessed a piling on penalty.
Now, Pat, those penalties have really hurt the Saskatchewan Roughriders today. They've given Ottawa a lot of extra yardage for no reason at all.
Major foul, Saskatchewan number 71, piling on.
He had better shut up.
Down.
He was giving the official a little static there. He just better shut up.
Now, let's see if we can see the tail end of the play now. Oh, he took a good shot at him.
So it is first down Ottawa at the Saskatchewan 28-yard line. They came with the blitz. Maurice Doyle on the screen, but he wasn't able to get away from Ken McEachran.
And then he followed up by Lowe came over there, too. Those very active linebackers. He plays the part of a rover. Kenny McEachran really fits their defensive scheme of things really well. Don't you think, Lee?
I absolutely do, Jocko. What they've allowed Ken McEachran to do is just use your experience. You line up where you think you should and where the action's going to be and just react to the football. That time he did a perfect job. That's a great role for a veteran player like Kenny.
Good point, because I watched them play really well against the Argos and their run-and-shoot offense 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Loss was 5 yards. It's 2nd and 15. McJunkins steps up. Now he just tries to get it away to Wayman Aldridge, but it was overthrown.
The big guys are cranked up in Saskatchewan. Those guys, they're big guys. Boy, I'm talking about the offense and defensive linemen.
Well, there's no question about it that this is Rick Moore's best game.
The one thing I'd like to point out, Pat, is just the inexperience of Prince McJunkins. He stepped up in the pocket, and he just didn't know whether to run or to throw. Ty Gray came open, but he didn't have the patience, as we saw J.C. Watts earlier, to just hang in there and able to get that ball off. Rather, he threw a lousy pass over to Wayman Aldridge.
Speaking of Ty Gray, he hasn't caught a football today, and he's a big part of that offense. Coming into the ball game, he had caught 12 for 3 touchdowns.
Ty Gray is one of those kind of receivers, like a lot of good ones. You know, in other words, the more he's used, the more great plays that he'll make for you, and the more he gets into the game.
Well, that's a good point. It's one I was going to make, Jocko. If you don't get your receivers involved in the game early, it's really difficult. I know as a former receiver, if you wait until the 3rd, 4th quarters to make your first catch, it's really tough to get a rhythm out there.
Yeah.
Bob Stephen will come in at center. Jim De Silva limps off. Dean Dorsey's 40-yard field goal try is good. And so with 7 minutes and 29 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter, it is now Saskatchewan 30, Ottawa 20, 30 to 21. This will be Tim Kearse from his 8-yard line. And Kearse gets up over the 35 to about the 36. Brought down by, you guessed it, Dan Rasevich, who seems to make most of those downfield tackles.
Well, he's been an outstanding rookie, hasn't he? Another Simon Fraser graduate.
Got an opportunity to play. They didn't feel that Harrison was giving them enough punch in the middle, and Rasevich has come in and done a respectable job there. Well, there's the West Division. Can it be any tighter? Winnipeg and BC all tied up. Edmonton and Calgary, and a Saskatchewan victory today would move them right into the playoff picture. Greg Figure, nowhere to go. He's dropped at about the 38-yard line. Stop was made by Ron Engelson, number 78. So he picks up a couple, not much more. They take Rasevich out of there and put in an extra defensive back.
You know, Pat, and as a matter of fact, all three, when's the last time you saw a Canadian do as good a job as Rasevich has been doing at middle linebacker? There haven't been many.
2nd and 8. Ottawa has the extra defensive back. Pow's going to run it, but he will not get the first down. Greg Marshall, well, he's close enough to it. Greg Marshall was there to bring him down. Gary Doolin.
They give him the good mark. Looked like they gave him the good mark. That was a good call by Powell. A little more quickness, and he had really a big play. He would have gone the whole way.
What happens on those situations, he knows that 6 defensive back comes in the football game, and they play those deep zones, the middle often so open, and he took advantage of that with the quarterback draw.
And he just made it, you see, by the length of the football.
That's a good, experienced quarterback making a good play selection.
The second half, Ottawa's defensive front four has gone more into an even look. That means that defensive tackles are over offensive guards and defensive ends over offensive tackles. Now they're back in over the center.
Rasevich is back in as the middle linebacker. Powell pumped once, then puts it up for Stu Fraser, but he overthrew him. Kenny Miller providing the defensive coverage for Ottawa. Didn't seem to put enough loft on that ball. If he had let Stewart run underneath it a little more.
Got to get a little air underneath that thing.
Yeah, really, though, Kenny Miller had excellent coverage on that play.
Powell this afternoon has completed 17 of 36 passes for 207 yards. He's thrown the ball 36 times. Ottawa's only thrown it 10. Well, Rube Berry's got to be a lot happier with what he sees out here this afternoon. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan at their 47, but there'll be a time count violation. Ball is back to the 41.
Time count violation, Saskatchewan, number 6.
We've never discussed this before, but I'd like to ask you guys, I've always thought that it'd be nicer if there were 25 seconds on the clock rather than 20. What do you think?
20's all right. I think that the guys are geared into once they get used to it, then I think it's all right. Get her going.
Ottawa jump. Powell looking for DeFrance, and he tried to make a diving catch but couldn't. Got a procedure penalty against Saskatchewan. Well, that turns out to be a big play because now they'll be punting.
They thought they were going for just a giveaway, right?
So with 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
Saskatchewan, number 6. Declined, 3rd down.
Call is against Joe Powell. They may feel that he drew them offside.
Yeah. Have to be.
A lot of time left in this game. 5 minutes, 35 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter. Saskatchewan leads at 30-21, and they are now punting on 3rd and 15. Good punt by Hickey. This will be Dave Newman from his 20. This is Ricky Barden on the reverse. He's ruled out at about the 25-yard line. Actually, there was good coverage by Saskatchewan because they didn't leave their lanes. They just all stayed at home, and as a result, it didn't work very well.
That was well executed. Could have been a big play. There's a lot of excitement in the kicking game up here.
Dave Newman hands off to Ricky Barton, but Pat, you are so right. They stayed in those lanes, and really, Greg Feger lets him get outside, but Ray Elgard finally brings him out of bounds with some help from Dave Singh. But a good job, good observation by you.
It's 1st down Ottawa at the 25-yard line, their own. Ooh, he was really dropped back at the 15-yard line by Jeff Roberts. Willie Jones was in there as well, but it was Roberts who really got a good lick on him.
Roberts is extremely fast. I've talked to some guys, and he's one of those 4'6" guys that can, that can really run for 240 pounds or whatever. He's an extremely talented guy, especially as a defensive end on the outside. In other words, he played as a tackle in his first game. He's a little lost in there. But outside on a 4-man front, he's tough.
Rube Berry thinks that he may be his best lineman.
Well, he'd be the one that you'd give up last, I'll tell you that, because he's just a young guy.
It's 2nd and 20, Ottawa. There's his friend Willie Jones making another sack back at the 10-yard line.
Isn't it contagious, though? It's a contagious thing when you get one guy going, the other guy going, and pretty soon they're all humped up and pumped up. Woo!
Well, you know, Pat, Willie Jones, this is the first game that he's been in for the Rough Riders. He was in training camp, had an injury, and the coaching staff today said, gosh, this is the first time we've had the front four that we've wanted to have all year, and that's their 5th sack of the ball game.
Well, Saskatchewan's going to end up with great field position. Ken Clark is standing 5 yards deep in his end zone. Good boot, though. This is Fran McDermott at his 53. He loses the football. Now, who's got it? Ottawa.
There's another big play. Woo! Now what can he do with it, Lee Pay?
Steve Harrison comes up with the football. He's the fellow we were talking about that Dan Rasovich had replaced at the middle linebacker spot, so he's got to be happy with this big play.
Watch how hard he goes in after that ball, boy. He is hungry. He wants to get that turnover, give his club good field position. They've got to get themselves back in this ball game.
To get the turnover is one thing. It's a great thing. Now, what do you do with it? Saskatchewan's had great success after turnovers.
Well, this is Chucky Davis.
Big play. All right. Woo!
And he's down to the Saskatchewan 36-yard line.
He looked like a good running back there, didn't he, Pat? Huh? He found some daylight and he accelerated and got up field.
19 yards the pickup by Chucky Davis.
Look at Chucky. Chucky finds a little daylight to the outside here. Got good quicks. Makes a good move here on McEachern. Runs by him. And then he's back up north-south, cutting back, trying to get another 4 or 5 extra yards. A good gain, 19 yards.
First down to Ottawa at the Saskatchewan 36.
Here they come in a blitz.
And they get to him. It was Steve Johnson, as Jocko pointed out, who was firing in there from his inside position. And he got to the Ottawa quarterback, Prince McJunkins III.
He brought it back in motion, indicated that they were in a man coverage. It's going to be a blitzing situation, Pat, and he just took too much time to get rid of the football. Got to get the ball downfield. Here it comes. You know it's a blitz. And then he's going to get it from somebody. That's the difference between a young quarterback, learning situation, and the vet.
You know, that's the 8th time that Ottawa's been nailed back of the line of scrimmage. They swing it out to Chucky Davis again, and a good move got him to the outside, and will get back the loss of the 9 yards, and he'll pick up a couple as well. Terry Irvin finally brought him down.
They got to grab the 3 here now, Pat, eh?
Yeah.
Because then they can come back and pick up the converted touchdown, and 31's greater than 30 we were talking about before, and that's what Ottawa has to do to win this one.
Well, it's only third quarter. They trail.
Oh, long way to go. It's going to be a great football game.
Gosh, grab the 3 right here. Dean Dorsey hasn't missed today.
Hey, he's done a good job since coming to this Ottawa football team, Dean Dorsey. He's 2 for 2 so far today. This one comes from 39 yards. Make it 3 for 3, and Ottawa's back now within an unconverted touchdown. With 1 minute and 21 left to play in the third quarter, Saskatchewan leads it by 6 points.
We're going to be here right to the end. This is going to be a good one. It's going to be right down to the wire, I would think.
You know what? Rube Berry's got to be just biting his fingernails, though. He had a good lead against Hamilton. They came back to tie it. And next week, as Jocko pointed out, he's going to be in Edmonton with all our guys from the Western crew. Winnipeg will be in there. Blue Bombers red hot at the moment. Edmonton playing well this year. And then we'll be in Montreal on Saturday night to watch the Stampeders. And in Toronto on Sunday as Ottawa goes in there to play the Argos. A lot of football action upcoming here on CTV. This is Greg Fieger, and he only gets about 3 yards to the 38.
Pat, I've got a report that not only you 3 will be interested in, but I am sure more interested will be Bob Abilovich, head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. J.C. Watt's thumb that is not enabling him to play in the second half. It's hyperextended. It is not a re-tear that forced the operation last year. And the doctor, Dr. Gittins, tells me he should be ready. It's sore now, but he should be ready to play next Sunday in Toronto.
Thanks for that information, Bill. Pow going deep. And Krista France just couldn't get to the ball.
Again, he could see the receiver, and you talked about this before. If he could just get a little more air under, in other words, he's still zinging that intermediate 25-yard pass a little bit too flat, any leaf. If he could get just a little hump on it like he does oftentimes, give that receiver a chance.
His Jocko, and especially in a situation like that where the middle has been vacated by the middle safety on a blitz, gosh, let that receiver just run to an area and run underneath the ball. And as you know, Ron Lancaster was so good at that. When he saw that middle safety leave, he just threw that ball out there, let you go get it.
And that's what J.C. Watts did to Newman early on that 80-yard touchdown for Ottawa.
This is Newman on the run. Boy, he gives Ottawa everything he's got to. On the dead run, he takes it at the 40 and gets back to midfield before Steve Johnson finally brings him down.
You won't be seeing Sammy Green anymore in this ball game, according to the latest word I have at the Saskatchewan bench. That ankle of his, although taped up, although it's a slight sprain, it's not a bad sprain. It is enough that, as you saw earlier, he is just not able to run his patterns.
Just want to remind you, 10 o'clock tonight, we'll have the Olympic highlights for you. The 1984 Los Angeles Olympics are underway. You can follow them here on CTV.
That's, you know, if only Ottawa could generate some offense now with Prince McDuncans, you can kind of feel the momentum just slightly shifting back to their favor. You know, they chipped away, got a turnover, good field position. You don't want to lose Dave Newman. He's been a big part of that offense today, but if Prince can get something moving here, they got a chance to really, well, they're trailed by 6 points. Touchdown puts them ahead.
And they start right at midfield. Wow! Flag is down. Raymond Aldridge caught it on the first bounce. He's trying to indicate that he had scooped it off the turf, but there'll be a holding penalty against Ottawa anyway.
Well, I guess they've got to do something to try and slow this front four down. They're just laying their ears back and coming hard against Prince, and he's just had very little time to throw that football.
Hey, that Roberts, I don't know, are we going to be picking any stars today, but be watching that guy, Pat. I'll tell you what, he made some great
Ottawa,
moves.
number 52.
He makes some great moves. And
repeated.
The thing that I like about him is that when he ends it up, he really puts the hit on. In other words, that.
Well, you talk about putting the hammer on him. Watch
here. Here he is, right here. Boink.
Kevin Dalladay, number 52, the left guard, was called for holding.
Well, Jocko talked about our Carling O'Keefe game stars. There'll be a few from that defensive front four that we could pick today from Saskatchewan.
Here they come again. Eddie Lowe came in there on a blitz. And as a result, Steve Johnson makes the interception. Well, Lowe fired in there. McJunkins had to unload it, and he did right into Steve Johnson's hands.
That's the second intercept today.
And so we have come to the end of the 30-yard line as they begin this series of downs. They hand off inside, and the big lumbering back goes down to the 35-yard line. And that is John Park, formerly of the Ottawa Roughriders.
Big, strong kid. That's just that little quick pop in there that's been really effective for him.
Boy, they're falling like flies, though. They've got a lot of injuries on both these clubs. As we take a look at the third quarter statistics, Saskatchewan 226 yards, Ottawa 179. 207 yards passing for Joe Pau today, his most productive afternoon, I would think, after 3 quarters of play.
Story on David Newman, the receiver for the Ottawa Roughriders, is he got a slight concussion, but the doctor says he will be back in action.
Boy, you would think that Raymond Aldridge might have picked up a concussion, too, when he was hammered by Fran McDermott, but apparently he's all right.
No, he didn't. He was hammered all right, but what he got was more of the wind knocked out of him than anything else.
Okay, let's have a look at how that opened up so quickly. John Park's going to take the ball, but watch, they bring the motion across, a natural seam develops. All right, let it run there. There you see, all it takes is one good block on a linebacker, and they got it. They got a good crack and a good hole up the middle.
First down, Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 35-yard line. This time, Greg Feger was met the moment that he got the ball. Gary Doolin, number 69, just wrapped his arms around him immediately.
Gary Doolin's had a good game this afternoon, Pat. He's been very active back there, along with number 66, Greg Marshall, as he always is. Both defensive lines playing well today. There he is, former Ohio State product, number 69, Gary Doolin.
about 280. He's really a big guy.
Doesn't miss many meals, does he?
Second and virtually 10 yards to go. Pow takes off. A flag comes down, and the Saskatchewan quarterback is inside the Ottawa 20. But we've got a flag back where you normally see a holding penalty called, and it is. There's your pal, Jocko, the man that you brought in to the Ottawa Roughriders.
First guy I hired. Yeah. Oh, he's a great person and a great coach. Talk about guys that come here to play and enjoy playing. He really creates a great environment for the players.
Saskatchewan, number 57.
Holding penalty is against the center, Bob Poley. In the matchup, I'm sure that you were talking about earlier, Gary Doolin.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a big penalty because it moves them back to the Ottawa 45-yard line. Second and 20. Another flag comes down, and what a catch inside the 20-yard line by Ray Elgart. And again, holding called against Saskatchewan. Oh. You know, you're inside the 20 on two separate plays, and now you're going to be back at midfield.
That really kills you. That's what we've talked about all day long. In other words, it's a game of field position, and all of a sudden you're in for some points. Now
Holding,
it looks like
Saskatchewan, number
really
53.
difficult.
Second down repeated.
Now you can't have a bad play. In other words, people are laying back. They look for the intercept.
Yep. Jerry Hornett, number 53, the right tackle, called for holding.
That was a great catch by Ray Elgart. He's made some really big plays today. That one's negated by a penalty.
So it's second and 30 now, back at midfield. And this time they get to the Saskatchewan quarterback at the Saskatchewan 48-yard line.
Now in front four of the Ottawa Roughriders doing an excellent job. Number 66, Greg Marshall, will finally get the penetration working around Neil Quilter. He comes in along with Gary Doolin. They get the sack, and they've just done an outstanding job. But, you know, it makes their job so much easier when it's second and 30 to go. They have a pretty good idea of what's coming.
Yeah, they just take a toe hold and come around, make any move they want. They don't care if they give up a running lane or not. It doesn't make any difference. So they run for 7 or 11. It's still no difference.
Raymond Aldridge at the Ottawa 19. He's dropped at about the 26 or 27. Aldridge is right. He's saying that he grabbed me by the mask, and he certainly did.
He did.
But that's our score, 30-24. Saskatchewan leads it. Ottawa will have the ball when we come back. Standing performances here this afternoon, and we will select the offensive and defensive game stars and present them to you at the conclusion of this ball game. But don't ask me now, because there have been so many guys, I have no idea who I'll go for. Ottawa takes over at their 26.
There's the guy I like.
Yeah, Jeff Roberts, number 71. He drops the Ottawa quarterback inside the 20.
Prince McJunkins, he's hurt too, Pat. He trapped his foot on that play. We'll see a replay of this. Number 71, Jeff Roberts, he's just been shot out of a cannon all day. Watch how he runs him down, but that foot gets caught underneath.
Number 45, Jackson, that was the other linebacker we were talking about earlier, a rookie from Mississippi State. That's Jackie Parker's old school. I'll tell you what, he's a great player. He's one of those guys about 6 foot 230, runs really fast. And he makes a lot of plays on the field. He helped force that play.
Well, there have been 5 quarterback sacks, 5 team sacks, so Ottawa's been nailed 10 times back at the line of scrimmage. It tells you something about their defense. They are fired up.
Mind you, when you get somebody like McJunkins in there and you're not concerned with his passing the way you are with J.C. Watts, it's much easier to go in on him than it is, as I say, in Watts.
Yeah.
Well, I suggested that Prince McJunkins hurt his foot. Obviously, number 71, Jeff Roberts, has hurt his as well as he's being attended to out on the field. And gosh, you don't want to lose that fella. He's had a great game today.
But, you know, we're all football fans. Is there any place you'd rather be than right here this afternoon? I mean, no, beautiful afternoon.
I'm glad you said that, because I was saying that earlier in the day, and I said that yesterday. It was such a beautiful ball.
Now they are stuck at their 18-yard line, second and 20.
He put some chase on him there. He made a good...
Forced him out of the 12-yard line.
That's right. I said it earlier. He's had his best game by far. He showed some quickness that he hadn't shown in earlier ball games.
One of the problems that Prince McJunkins is facing is a very aggressive secondary Saskatchewan's coming up with. He was really looking to Wayman Aldridge there, but number 17, Steve Johnson, who already has 2 interceptions in this ball game, just did a super job to cover him. That makes it tough. 2nd and 20, you got nobody to throw to.
Fran McDermott and Tim Kearse are back awaiting this punt from Ken Clark.
Wow.
Oh, this is a beauty.
Rockets that one.
This is McDermott at his 50. He hangs on, though, and gets into the Ottawa 52-yard line. 49-yard boot, a 7-yard return, and Saskatchewan starts on Ottawa's side of midfield.
And they've made a switch at quarterback as number 12, Nicky Hall, is entering the ball game.
You know, that just surprises me from this fact, because all of a sudden, like, you're in a field position right now, one-dimensional. Saskatchewan's got to go in and get some points to protect that lead and build on it a bit, because you've got to have more than a converted, you know, they got to at least have a converted touchdown.
This is Greg Feger on the draw. And he has a first down to the 40-yard line, tripped up by Ricky Barden.
Well, I'm just wondering, gentlemen, that if Ruben Berry's thinking, let's change maybe and go to Nicky Hall, that Ottawa defensive front four is getting such a good pass rush. I might like a quarterback with a little more mobility in there to try and finish out this game. So obviously that's his thinking, because there's nothing wrong with, Joe Paupau.
No, Joe's healthy. No problem with him.
That's a good point, though, Leaf.
Oh, that's why he's in there. I'm just saying that he's got good field position right now.
And again, this is Big John Park, who lumbers into the 33-yard line, where Barden again makes the tackle. But obviously, Ricky Ellis is shaken up. That's why we've got Feger and Park in the same backfield.
Craig Ellis.
Second down, about 3 yards to go for the first down. This is Feger. And he got all caught up in the traffic. He does not have the first down. So we'll see Ridgway. And if he's good, as he has been on 5 of 6 tries this afternoon, he'll open up another 9-point lead.
You got to have that. That's what I was saying just a minute ago. He's got to have that 9 points, because you talked about the 2-point conversion up here, which is another tough decision for coaches to make. But anyway, you got to have those 3 right here.
The problem with Ricky Ellis, gentlemen, is that he has back spasms. That's why he has not been playing.
Well, I threw you off key because I called him Ricky Ellis. It's actually Craig Ellis, of course.
Well, you did. Don't do it again.
Ridgway's try will come from 40 yards out. And again, he's good. 6 out of 7 field goals this afternoon for Dave Ridgway. And now the Saskatchewan Roughriders lead it by 9, 33-24, with 9:16 left in the game. We'll be back. 9 minutes, 16 seconds left to play. Saskatchewan leads it by 9.
Tell you this, Pat, and you know this, that there are Saskatchewan football fans from coast to coast in this country. You know, anywhere that I've ever been, the Greenies are coming out all over. Wherever they're watching this game, they're hollering defense, defense, defense. They got to play defense from right now.
That Greenies, I like that one.
That's right.
Yeah, woo. Jeff Roberts again tripped him up. Gets to the 42 for a pickup of 7, but it's his indecision that is creating the chaos in the Ottawa offense.
Sure is, Pat. What a job Jeff Roberts does to run him down from behind. And you know, Prince McJunkins is not running full speed because he cannot figure out whether he's going to throw it or run it. And when that happens, you start thinking you don't run full speed.
It's second down, the better part of 4 yards to go. Knocked away. And of course the Ottawa fans are booing him. It's a tough task for Prince McJunkins. this is his first game of the year.
Well, obviously, George Brancato felt he had the qualifications to be his backup quarterback. They did not keep Chris Isaac, who at one point was up for a Shenley Rookie of the Year, and so he obviously felt Prince McJunkins had something there. Obviously, he's not showing it today.
Yeah, John Evans in town, too.
John Evans has been in a lot of towns.
He's a good player.
Another good punt by Ken Clark. McDermott awaits at his 22. Well, Fran McDermott always does a good job, and he gets it back to the 38-yard line on this occasion. Dan Rasovich was down to make the stop. A 47-yard boot by Ken Clark that time, but a 16-yard return by that man, number 3, Fran McDermott.
He almost made the intercept on a player prior to that, so that's the kind of a guy that you like on your football team. He's involved in the game. He's a competitive guy.
You know, you were making a very good point when you were talking about Saskatchewan, Jocko, and that's the fact that most people come from Saskatchewan, or maybe wish they did. Joe Paupau is an example. Has moved in and he's become a resident, bought a home in Regina. This is the way that Regina club operates.
John Park, the ball carrier, gets it to the 45, and he's got a pickup of 7.
He hasn't spent the winter yet, though.
Another Ottawa Rough Rider injured on the play.
Well, I don't know, Jocko. I think that's one of the great strengths of both of these Rough Rider clubs. As a matter of fact, Pat can attest to this. Here in Ottawa, many of the players stay year-round and make it their home. And it is certainly the same in Regina, maybe more in Regina than any place else in the CFL.
Well, that's a great thing. Get those players staying in your city, see them all year long, working off-season programs.
It's funny, I talked to Henry's conversation with Dean Dorsey before the ball game, and I said, how do you like it in Ottawa now? And he says, you know, Leaf, I just love being here. I'm living in a nice place. I got a bicycle. I love going up and down the Rideau Canal every day and bike to practice. He said, I couldn't be happier in Ottawa. So he likes playing here. And it's a beautiful city in the summer.
It really is. It's a beautiful spot. Remember we went on the boat trip. You're the only guy that ever went down the canal and hated it.
Well, let me tell you something, too. Talking about Saskatchewan, forget about Ottawa for a moment. Do you know that Pat Marston was even in Saskatchewan for a while? He was the terror of Moose Jaw during the 50s.
Oh, fighter pilot.
Yeah, fighter pilot. He was protecting us.
Sure.
We were never attacked all the time I was there. From the 45-yard line, this is Greg Fieger. And Fieger fights his way for a couple, but it looks like he's a little short of that first down marker.
I want to get this straight now. Did you say we were never attacked or you were never attacked when we were there?
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen right now. Saskatchewan's going to punt the football. If Ottawa's going to win this game, they're going to win it with their defense because it doesn't look like they can move the ball with Prince McJunkins at quarterback.
It's got to be defense, specialty teams play. There's so many things like that can happen in a ball game, have happened in this game. So to put some pressure on his punter right now.
Well, Paul Hickey's done a good job punting the football. That was an area there where they were having problems earlier in the year with Dave Badowich, and now Paul Hickey acquired from Edmonton. He's done a good job this afternoon.
Dwight Edwards will corral this one at his 22. They throw a flag. Now, there's going to be an illegal block called against Jack Williams, and that was dicey because I think the guy coming down the field turned his back. It is Saskatchewan 33, Ottawa 24. We'll be back in a moment. Eastern Conference, the tie against Hamilton, this victory against Ottawa would give them 3 points, just one back of Edmonton and Calgary. Saskatchewan jumped the gun. The handoff is to Chucky Davis, and he fights his way out to the 25-yard line for a first down, so Ottawa will decline the offside penalty.
This is a tough spot for the Ottawa offense. They really have to try and grind it out for a couple of first downs here, get themselves out of that horrible field position that they have, and then work on something. There's Dave Newman on the bench. He has not come back into the ball game after having that concussion.
No, the doctor was overly optimistic. He thought he would be back, but that slight concussion obviously is still affecting Dave.
It's not slight, huh?
No. Mike Collymore is in there replacing him. Ooh, Chucky Davis had nowhere to go that time. Ken McEachran was there. And so, too, was the big man of the ball game, 71. That's Jeff Roberts, of course.
Let's run down that front four for the Saskatchewan Roughriders because, you know, they've got an excellent group there. Rick Moore, number 76. Jeff Roberts, number 71, are the ends. Number 63, Rick Goltz. And number 77, Willie Jones are the tackles. That's a good pass-rushing front four.
Big rangy guys, too.
Loss was a couple of yards. It is 2nd and 12. Well, they tried to set up the screen pass to Maurice Doyle. But you can tell it didn't work by the sound of the Ottawa crowd. Jocko, I'm not a football coach by any means, but I don't like the way this kid sets up. I don't like his drop at all.
No, he's having troubles. George knows that. He's aware of that.
Ken Clark is in the ball game to punt on 3rd and 12.
Well, when you get that much pressure on you and you're a young quarterback, that certainly doesn't help your setup.
No. May have been short a man on their unit, so that's why they've taken this time count violation.
I'll tell you, the fella that's coming out of the field is probably going to be short a few bucks because that's usually worth a fine.
Ottawa, number 13. 3rd down repeated.
I hate to say this, gentlemen, but we have had just an excellently officiated game, and we're working with one less official.
Are you suggesting something?
I'm just bringing it up. That's all. You're up there in the booth.
Chucky Davis was the man who forgot to come onto the field. This is Tim Kearse from the Ottawa 51, and he dances his way down to the 45 with 4 minutes and 51 seconds left to play in the game.
You know, there has been talk over the years, and you've all heard it, of course, that maybe there are too many officials, and that accounts for too many flags.
Look at the penalties, though. We've had 27 penalties in this ball game.
Well, they've had no trouble getting the red flags out of the back pocket.
They give inside to John Park, and he gets to the 43-yard line. He'll have a pickup of a couple.
Saskatchewan really has had excellent field position in the second half. You know, when you can start your drives from the other team's side of the field every once in a while, you're really in good shape.
2nd down and 8, Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 43. Toss goes to Greg Fieger, but he has absolutely nowhere to go. And so they're going to spot the ball at the 42.5-yard line. Dave Ridgway can come onto the field, and if he is successful,
he's the star of the game.
Yeah, but he will also tie the all-time CFL record for number of field goals in a ball game. Bob McAreedy is one of them. Dave Cutler is the other. They share the record at 7.
Bob McAreedy,
he's going to hit a 50-yarder.
Did that while he was Saskatchewan Roughrider.
Right. It'll be a 50-yard attempt.
Range should not be a problem for Dave Ridgway.
It's good.
He's my offensive star. If they're winning the ball game, like something crazy happened. Wowee.
He has just tied the CFL record for most field goals in a single game.
And what a way to do it, though, Pat. Here he had a kicking contest that Barry had him put on with Paul Watson because he was not kicking well. Ridgway wanted, or Paul Watson might have been in here kicking in this ball game. So Reuben Berry stuck with Ridgway. He showed that the pressure, he can take it. He just finished doing, as you said, setting a record.
And they haven't been chip shots. I mean, he had a 56-yarder in there. He had a 50-yarder, a 40, a 41.
Oh, he's really in the groove. It's like a golfer. You get that groove swing going. He's got that good stroke and nice and relaxed, not overstriding on those long kicks at all.
3:32 left to play in the ball game.
Oh.
Down he goes. Rick Goltz gets another quarterback sack for Saskatchewan.
Wow.
Well, they tried to set up the screenplay there, but the defense just did an excellent job. Good pass rush, but the linebackers, watch Eddie Lowe, number 42, number 30, Ken McEachran, he came over. Prince McJunkins, he just had nothing to do with the football but eat it. There's a happy group.
As I say, the Greenies are all over the world, boy, and they love football. It's when you're part of them, it's all right, eh?
Well, Bill's friend, the Flames, here today.
Loss is all the way back to the 23-yard line, and again, another time count violation for Ottawa. So with 2:44 left in the ball game, we'll break away and tell you that the score is Saskatchewan 36, Ottawa 24. We'll be back. Skip Walker out of there, Jim Reed, all through injury.
Well, Dave Newman as well in the second half with that concussion, so that makes
Wayman Aldridge is on the limp too, Leaf. They are a battered club. Saskatchewan tough is exactly that in this game, the way they've beaten up Ottawa.
When you have second down and about 30 yards to go,
give them that running lane. That's why they just shut down the 20-yard gains and everything like that, and just give them that running lane. J.C. Wast, I just hope that his injury is not severe, and they indicated maybe not so, because a guy of that skill, you just like to see those guys playing.
Well, they're waving to some of their friends back home, and they're a happy group. Made a long trip down here to Ottawa, and they're enjoying themselves. Their ball club's leading, but let's look ahead a little bit for the Ottawa Roughriders. They have to go into Exhibition Stadium in Toronto next week against Toronto, who's playing so well in their last two games. That's going to be a tall order.
Tim Kearse at his 51-yard line. A flag comes down, no yards. So as Leaf pointed out, again, Saskatchewan will be starting in Ottawa territory. You know, that's going to be a heck of a game, though, in Saskatchewan this coming weekend with BC in there. You know, Saskatchewan really playing well defensively.
Oh, yeah.
Should be a good crowd out there for that one.
There'll be a great crowd of great fans, I'll guarantee you. Yep. That's the way it is there.
They'll be coming from Weyburn and Saskatoon, and they'll have a good time.
I can remember when Anna Stukas was coaching BC and used to take the Lions into there, and Stuk used to get on the radio and he'd say, these are nothing but a bunch of sissies. The joint would sell out, they'd be after Stuk's head. The Lions couldn't win anything, but he'd sell the parka.
First down, Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 43. Greg Figger, he runs into Rick Sovieta, among others, after a pickup of a couple.
Well, it looks as though Dave Ridgway may get an opportunity to break that record. A couple of running plays. If they don't pick up a first down, we'll see him get an opportunity to kick that 8th field goal.
Right now, if they did not lose any yards, he'd be trying a 48.5-yarder.
Well, I'm sure they'll keep the ball on the ground.
Jocko's impressed by my math.
I know it. I love it. Get the score and the time on the clock back.
Greg Figger, the ball carrier, gets inside the 40 to about the 39.5-yard line.
Here he comes.
And here comes Dave Ridgway with an opportunity to go into the record books.
What is it, a 47.5-yarder, Pat, or what is it?
No, it'll be...
Do it in metric. I want to see this.
We've got 1 minute and 53 seconds left to play in the game. 46-yarder, yeah. Well, he's had a 56-yarder and a 50-yarder.
He's something if he kicks the record on Jerry Oregon Day over here, eh?
That's
Kicker's
true,
Day.
too.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It is good. I'm glad for him, too. Good for you, Dave Ridgway.
Wow.
You have just set a Canadian Football League record. Isn't that something? 8 field goals in one ball game. And everybody rushed out to offer their congratulations. You know, this league's been going a long time. To think that this guy has come in 1984 and established the all-time record. And there's Leafs friend. There's the man of the hour.
Now it's interesting. Dave Ridgway came into this game kicking 2 for 5 at field goals. Now 10 for 14. That sounds a lot better, doesn't it?
Sure does.
But the big thing is the win in the ball game.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. Uh-oh,
Here's a little double reverse to Dwight Edwards. Clip. Ooh, there was a clip, definitely. And Ottawa's going to be called for it, too. Jim De Silva, number 54, the offensive center, will be called for clipping.
He hit Billy Jackson right square in the back.
But that fellow right there, number 3, Dwight Edwards, regardless of the clip or not, he really makes things happen when he gets his hands on that football. Punt returns, kickoff returns, reverses. He can go deep. He's an exciting player.
Brother Bill Marsden has just pointed out that Dave Ridgway has outscored Ottawa today.
Oh.
You know, he's got 26 points.
Nope. Clipping. Ottawa, number 54. First down repeated.
As a coach, if you don't appreciate the kicking game up here, you're sure to learn to. You know what I mean? Or you're not going to be around very long.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those guys are so vital and so great. There are so many great ones in the league right now. So many great kicking and punting performances this year. You know, I used to kind of kid around about Bernie Ruoff. I saw Bernie Ruoff have many, many great games in punting and kicking. Guys like that, and Trevor Kennard and the whole bunch, hey? I mean, everybody talks about the Pasagdas. There are none greater, you know, as a punter-kicker combo. Cutler's and his scoring records, and, geez, it's interesting.
But Lee brought up a good point about kickers being like golfers. You get in the groove, and you get the good swing down or the good motion in your kicking leg. You're going to see some of the best golfers in the world right after this telecast, because we'll be going live to St. George's Golf Club in Toronto for the Du Maurier Classic.
Yeah, Dick Irvin, Frank Rigney, Al McCann, they'll bring the action to you, along with golfing greats Sandra Post and Gary Cowan.
Well, and you know what? They're all good golfers.
Riggs can hit the ball.
Yeah. And you can hit the ball pretty good, too, Lee.
Often.
Yeah. Well, the injured ball player is Willie Jones being helped off the field.
First game Willie's had the opportunity to play this year, and I know I'm talking to assistant coach Bob Swift before the ball game. He said, gosh, he said, we're happy. We finally got the group on defense that we've wanted to have together since training camp, and have they ever enjoyed an excellent afternoon rushing the passer.
It looks like he's moving along pretty good. I'm not a doctor by any stretch of the imagination, but I know one thing. When you win a ball game, those guys heal up a lot quicker. And when you're going to play somebody like BC in your own ballpark, and you got a few BC Lions on your team, like the Pow Pows and those guys, then it just seems like everybody will rebound a little bit quicker.
With 1:17 left to play in the ball game, Ottawa starts from its own 20-yard line. And again, McJunkins is sacked back inside the 10.
71.
Yeah. That's 15 times that Ottawa's been dropped back of the line of scrimmage. 8 quarterback sacks and 7 team sacks.
Well, in all fairness, number 50, Kevin Powell, did a pretty good job pass blocking against Jeff Roberts. Prince McJunkins just had nobody to throw to. So when you wait that long, the offensive lineman cannot hold those fellows out forever.
Good quarterbacks rarely get sacked. I remember, like, Ronnie Lancaster never took very many sacks. He knew where he was going with the football, and he got rid of the football. Same thing, Tommy Wilkinson, all those guys. Woo.
Well, he ran right into the traffic on that occasion, and so Al Johns, number 62, who was in there in place of Willie Jones, he'll get credit for his sack.
Jocko, you talk about the great quarterbacks, Wilkinson and that crew. They had their days like this, though.
Oh, yeah. They all had to go through a learning stage. I was there when Ronnie was learning in Regina. I was a veteran at the time. But, boy, he came on and just tremendous.
Jocko, you were a veteran before you were a rookie, though, I think.
That's a good line.
All right, that's a good line.
It's 39-24. Saskatchewan leads Ottawa with just 35 seconds left to play in the ball game. Ken Clark's end-over-end punt goes over the head of Tim Kearse. He has to chase it all the way back to the Saskatchewan 35-yard line. And now he gets to the outside, cuts it back in, and looks
touchdown.
Out.
Watch out.
Good call, Jack. Touchdown, Saskatchewan on a brilliant return after a 75-yard punt.
I've seen that guy so many times. Got a lot of that delivery. Once he sensed that somebody was on his tail, then he just pushed it on a little bit more. All phases of their game, they've looked a lot better today.
Let's watch Tim Kearse again, Leaf.
Remember last year when Sammy Green fumbled a kickoff in the end zone? Everybody hesitated, and he got off and running. Tim Kearse does a great job. Watch number 32, Terry Urban. He'll see Chucky Davis sneaking up behind, turns around, makes the final block, and what a great punt return for a touchdown. Saskatchewan, all phases of their game, performed well today.
Well, I said it was a 75-yard boot. Actually, it was a 66-yard kick and a 75-yard return. That's it. Boy,
Ottawa will be serious, and they'll be ready to play when they go in the C&E. I'll guarantee it, because I know the little Italian running the ship in Ottawa a little bit too well. Okay. Especially
all Italians like that?
Yeah. Huh?
Are all Italians like that, Jocko?
The ones that are still living.
So that makes it a 46-24 count now. Saskatchewan out in front. They pick up their first victory of the year, and they do it in impressive fashion because, boy, they have played well here today. And they're a happy group. They should be. They're hugging and slapping. And
this bench is on fire down here, Pat. I'll tell you. They really feel they've made it. They really feel that they have made it, that they found themselves. They felt all along they're a good club. Now they're convinced they've showed it to everybody. And that's how they feel.
Bill, I know as a former player, when you've had a struggle and got off to a rough start, when you get that first win under your belt, especially in the other team's park against the first-place team in the Eastern Conference, boy, what a confidence booster that is for them. They're excited.
And as they said, and they're saying it right here, we beat them into it. We knocked them into submission. And I guess that's what they did. Look what they've done over on that bench of the Ottawa Roughriders. Terrific.
this is Ricky Barden. And Ricky gets to the 25 with time for only one more play. 3 seconds left on the clock.
Talked with Jerry Keeling a lot in the last, 24, 48 hours. He said, that break that they had, they came back. He said, we had some fierce practice sessions where there was really a lot of contact. And I know that when you have that kind of a feeling, you come back and you've got guys that really want to play and play hard. Then you can come back from adversity. And Pat, I'm just talking about 11 years ago I was here. We're 0-4. I was Gonzo. I was hung in effigy here and everything. We came on and won the Grey Cup because they had enough veteran players, tough guys that wanted to play football, and Saskatchewan got those kind of guys. They want to play. They want to play, and they want to show that they can do it. They did today.
Jerry Keeling, of course, is an assistant coach with these Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And he's one of those players back in 73.
Yeah. And Junkin's pass is picked off. A suitable ending because Terry Irvin makes the interception. There is a flag down on the field, and Irvin will just step out of bounds. The penalty really doesn't make any difference because time has expired. But Terry Irvin ends the ball game with an interception. We'll have to get the penalty called because, of course, if it's against Saskatchewan, Ottawa could decline the penalty and just say, look, let's go have a shower. Here's the
illegal block. Saskatchewan declined.
Penalty is declined. The ball game is over. Saskatchewan has defeated Ottawa.